What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Long Run Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about DC's latest film, Wonder Woman. The question going into this movie, everyone's wondering,
can they do
DC still gonna suck? But,
is it shit?
Before we even get into the podcast, joining us today, we have a lot of people. It's a full house. We even have, I believe, some new members that have never appeared on the podcast before. To my left, we have the great Abhishek Gupta. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good. It's been.
We love you.
Good to be here. I was here once, like a while ago.
You were here for the Jungle Book review, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And next to him, we have the legend himself, Jen Catarata.
The man of the hour.
Playing the Switch.
Yeah, playing a Switch.
I'm playing the Switch.
Playing the Nintendo Switch.
Playing
Playing
Zelda
Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
Ooh.
Next to
look at
him, I believe this is his first time on the podcast, Christopher
Really?
Lesniak. How are
It's
you doing,
about
man?
time.
I'm doing swell.
You happy to be here?
Yeah.
Is it really your first time?
That's hard to believe.
I feel like you would have snuck your way on at some point.
Nope.
Huh.
Not even
First
sausage
time
party.
I've seen a big
Well,
mic.
how about that?
All right, so right next to him, we have his roommate and very good friend from college and high school. It is
Yes.
JJ. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm cutting Jan's arm right now.
It makes sense.
That's the sawing noise that you hear in the background.
Yeah. Have you done a podcast before? I forget.
What was that one movie? Joker.
Oh, Suicide Squad.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely joined on for
Yep.
one.
I remember.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was a giant one. And next to him, of course, is our mainstay here at the Long Run. It is Austin Hicks. How you doing today, man?
I'm great. I don't know how loud I'm supposed to be. So,
You can talk normally.
okay.
Just be as loud as you can.
Alright, because last time I was too quiet.
So you might be too loud.
Okay.
I mean, just talk at this level.
Is this
Just like,
okay?
yeah.
Just be careful. Well, we're all inevitably going to get really excited about something.
All right.
So don't
I'm
stress
happy
too
to be
much
here,
about
though.
We're all
Thank
gonna
you.
clip the mic at some point.
Next to him, we have someone who has not been on the podcast for a long time
Oh.
now. It is Mike Pavliv. How you doing, man?
It is an absolute honor to be here, Adam.
I forget which one you were here for. I want to say X-Men.
I
it
missed
was-
cameos
It was
on
X-Men
several.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, it was X-Men.
X-Men, La La Land.
Oh yeah, he was
There's
La La
another
Land.
one.
The lost episode.
Ooh.
Yeah, La La Land is our lost episode.
What happened to it?
You just never got
Never
uploaded.
uploaded.
Never got edited.
Oh,
I have
wow.
to.
Oh, it's still in the.
I have to recover it.
Still in the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta fish it.
It's not in
reel
the
it
cloud actually. It's on solid state drive. I have to find it.
The physically lost episode.
I'm gonna fish it out. I promise.
It's not a code name.
Yeah.
It's actually lost.
Now, next to him is our host in terms of the venue, but also he's going to be taking over my hosting duties because I'm going to be a little bit busy while this is going on. It's Jake Kupferberg.
Hello,
How you
everybody.
doing?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to have everybody here. And I'm excited to host.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah.
In the
You're
house.
welcome.
I forget if you've hosted
Actually
before.
I've hosted once. That's when you yelled at me for doing an NPR intro.
Oh yeah.
Wait, that was during what was that one? It was for Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I remember.
The
I didn't yell.
NPR
Did I yell at you?
Well, I mean, you didn't yell at me, but you were like, somebody was like, "You're going off tangent. You're going too far." But yeah, that was my moment.
Right. And of course, next to him we have the man with many names, the white guy with Netflix, the real Krapinsk, Jurassic Mark.
Hey.
It is Mark Krapinski, the professional himself.
That's
How
right.
you doing?
I'm the farthest thing from a professional.
Look at the closest here.
I am the biggest hack that has ever lived. I'm doing pretty good though. I'm doing alright.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. And of course, next to him we have my boy. I don't think he's ever been on a podcast before.
Oh.
Popping his podcast cherry. It is
Congratulations.
it is Vince Levatoria.
Hey, big chillin'.
Vince chilling. Vince chilling. And finally, all the way on the couch over there, working. No, never mind. Is AJ Cruz. He's been on our podcast. Ironically enough, he was during our first podcast. He just refused to speak. He was there for Batman
No,
versus
he's
Superman.
literally there at like every podcast,
Yeah.
but doesn't talk.
Public
He's there a lot. He just refuses to
He was
speak.
there at Logan,
So he
but
keeps
didn't-
on rubbing himself. I'm not sure why.
Just excited to be here.
He's the John Schwartzwalder of our
And
podcast.
also,
You know what? We could honestly just keep saying that he's here because he never
Oh,
talks.
you're right.
We'll never
they don't
know.
even know that he exists. Period.
It's like-
Yeah, they've never heard his voice. They could never confirm or deconfirm.
I could just say AJ agrees with me.
Right.
I mean, like, we also have two other people. We have Evan Chung, who will come in later, and
Yeah.
Niral Desai, who's coming.
Well, once they actually come in, we'll
Yeah.
introduce them.
They're on hold.
So, going into this movie, DC, we're in the DC extended universe. They've had 3 films so far. We have Man of Steel, which is very divisive. I personally really liked it, but I know a lot of people were not fans of
I
it.
did not.
Then we had Batman vs Superman, the most disappointing film I've seen in a very long time. And then finally we had Suicide Squad,
The Will Smith movie.
the trash, just hot garbage.
Honka.
And on top of that, Warner Brothers hasn't been doing so hot too because their past 2 animated movies that I saw were not that great as well. So we had Batman: The Killing Joke. I didn't think that wasn't.
That was shit.
Yeah, there was also I think it was Justice League versus Teen Titans, which was really meh. And then there was also Teen Titans: The Judas Contract, which is not that great either.
That Warner Animation Group, their theatrical stuff is pretty good though. Like Lego Batman. Lego Batman was some good shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I do.
Yeah, I actually have yet to see that as well.
Same. I used to.
They make fun of Suicide Squad.
I mean, with good reason.
A lot.
So,
That is a self-aware film.
so the story going into this film with Wonder Woman starring Gal Gadot,
Gal Gadot.
and directed by Patty Jenkins, who directed previously Monster, which was an Academy Award-winning film. The story is, can they recover? Can they save this DC universe before it needs to get rebooted? Before they have to flashpoint it? And
Reboot.
yeah, reboot.
Already?
Yeah, a reboot.
Real talk, if they did a Flashpoint movie, that would solve literally every problem
I mean,
they're having.
that's the
right
nice thing
now.
about the Flash is that you have a walking reboot whenever you want.
And they can keep the cast.
Yeah, exactly. So
Or not, you know.
Change whatever you want.
Exactly.
So,
So-
check.
Of course, whenever you talk about DC, inevitably you have to compare them to Marvel. And meanwhile, DC is struggling in Struggle City.
Real
Marvel's
struggle.
just printing money.
Yeah.
They had Civil War last year, which was a huge hit. They had Doctor Strange launching one of the most obscure characters into the mainstream.
Yeah.
And then this year they had their let's be real. Besides Avengers, their crown jewel, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Who'd have ever thought that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I remember Marvel's Ultimate MVC 3 got announced. Everybody's saying, like, why the fuck are they putting a raccoon in this game?
Right.
Nowadays, you go to Disneyland, there's like a line to meet Groot. It's insane.
So Marvel's, they've been successful, arguably from the beginning because of Iron Man, and here we have DC just struggling to even get some quality films up. Not even great films, just passable, and therefore
Something that won't make people angry.
exactly. There's a lot of pressure on Patty Jenkins and this film to actually set the course right. And on top of that, things have been going so hot over at DC ever since Suicide Squad ended. They had a whole bunch of corporate, movement. So they added Jeff Johns in. A lot of restructuring, yeah, that's the right word. And they also announced a whole bunch of films that they're making, but like, that they're but like that's it. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna make this movie, but there's no other info on it. So for example, they have a Black Adam movie and a Shazam movie. They announced a Nightwing movie. They announced the Batgirl movie directed by Joss Whedon. The Flash has been canceled indefinitely. It has a page 1 rewrite.
Isn't it on like rewrite number 3 or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
They went through like 3 different scripts and they're like, just page 1 rewrite. And then they also are developing a Deadshot movie. Suicide Squad 2.
I didn't know about Deadshot.
Yeah,
That could be cool.
They're also
Will
doing
Smith.
they're also doing Gotham City
I'll watch
Sirens
anything
with
with
directed by what's his name, the guy who did Suicide Squad as
David Ayer?
Yeah, David Ayer, and starring
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, as thank you Mark, as Harley Quinn.
Got you.
And finally, they also have their other films that they announced already, which is what's it called? Cyborg, Green Lantern Corps. They have The Batman, which is now directed by Matt Reeves.
Space Jam 2.
Not Space Jam 2. And they also have I would love Space Jam. They also have Justice League, but most of those don't have release dates. I think the only movies that have release dates right now are Aquaman, Cyborg, and Green Lantern Corps. There's also the untitled Superman sequel as well. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on with
They
DC.
got a lot.
Yeah, there's
They
just
got a lot.
there's just they have a lot to prove basically, and it all rides on this movie. And
Even on this movie too, because I remember this had, I think, like Patty Jenkins is not the first director to try and do this. I remember, I think this went through like something like 3 directors. This went through a couple day 1 rewrites, just like
It's an
Flash.
important movie to get right.
For a lot of reasons.
It
Yeah,
was
for more than just
the odds were not in its favor, and we'll get to whether or not we think it paid off.
Right. So before we continue on about going into this film, we have the 2 people who have joined us. We have Niral Desai,
Yeah, for sure.
the legend himself. How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Good to have you, bro. And then of course we have a mainstay of the Long Run podcast. It's Evan Chung. How you doing, man?
Sup, motherfucker?
Anyway. So, like I said, we have a full house today. And even beyond having to have the weight of the entire DC Extended Universe on their shoulder, you have to think about this too, that Wonder Woman is actually the first female-led superhero film that's ever been released.
Wow.
And Wonder Woman is part of the Trinity. Wonder Woman is an icon of feminism and women. So there's a lot of pressure to get this right.
Yeah.
Even beyond the DC Extended Universe.
You know.
I'm just saying, dude.
There was Halle Berry Catwoman.
That's a villain.
Oh, yeah.
Kinda.
There was
She's gray area.
She's both. She's on
Gray
Popeyes.
area. Gray area.
Let's not talk about that movie. That's an actual horrible film.
Both
That's
Supergirl and Catwoman.
That's worse than Batman versus Superman.
Have you reviewed
That's
them?
worse than Suicide
I have
Squad.
not. I gotta check those out.
Okay.
though.
Look out for that.
Anyway, so there's a lot of pressure going into this film. What did you guys think of? Like, what were your expectations going in? Just as a general discussion.
I was wondering if it would be like hot, and she was. So I was pretty bad.
Thank you for speaking what's on all of our minds.
Right.
Sure, everyone was thinking.
Let me see. I mean, I did my usual policy of not watching like a lot of trailers, a lot of footage. I really didn't know. I went completely blind into the movie. I knew that what was riding on it, and I almost wasn't sure if DC could pull it off. After, because there was a lot of tonal issues in I guess both Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, but mostly Suicide Squad. After they're like, oh, Batman, people were saying Batman v Superman was too dark. Oh, we gotta rewrite Suicide Squad. Then we gotta make it more funny. We gotta make Joker and Harley appeal to like the same people who love like Edward and Bella. You know,
share Facebook memes about how they
Tumblr.
wish they had a relationship like Joker and Harley.
yeah.
Oh God.
So I was really curious, and I knew, and I've been playing a lot of Injustice as well. So
Yeah.
I'm really in a DC kind of mood. So I was ready and willing to enjoy this movie. Anybody else?
I mean, I didn't really have any thoughts at first about this movie. I just thought, oh, I gotta go see this just because, well, it's a comic movie.
Right.
I guess I don't know. I don't really have any much reason. But then like yesterday and the day before when the reviews started coming out, and then Rotten Tomato has like a 96, 97 or something like
right.
that, and I was like, that got me excited. Maybe a little too excited. Because after watching it, we'll get there, but I might have been too hyped.
It also should be said that the main theme got me pretty hyped actually through Adam. Adam started saying it like with his voice a few days ago, and I didn't realize that I already knew the theme song until he started doing it, and I started getting into it. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And now, ever watching the movie, I really do like the main theme.
That's the reason why I came, just to hear the main theme.
Just
Kept looking forward to it. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it.
It was fun.
That was the interesting thing about those Rotten Tomatoes scores, because like leading up to this, I'm gonna be frank, I thought this was gonna be shit, because it was a DCEU movie and they've yet to put out a really good movie.
Even going beyond that, I heard a lot of rumors that there was a lot of trouble in post production. They couldn't. Apparently, there was a lot of trouble with video editing. And
they didn't have trouble with the slow motion. That's for sure.
We'll talk about that later.
They had it went through so many directors. It had so many rewrites.
Apparently, there was some reshoots too, which is not always a bad thing. But
I cheated and saw some leaks, and the leaks sounded really bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't blown away by Wonder Woman and Batman v Superman. Like, it seemed like it was going to be mediocre at best. Then the Rotten Tomatoes scores hit, and it didn't make me excited, but it made me interested because I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'll get this out. I like the movie.
All right.
Yeah.
It is not a 98 on Netflix.
I agree.
What's
an aggregate?
Okay, the Rotten Tomatoes
Yeah.
is just a go see it or don't go see it scoring.
Yeah.
It's like would you recommend this to a friend? Yes or no?
I like to think that the percentage is just the percentage of whether I'll like it or not knowing how good it is. 98% that I like it. I did like it.
Oh, like probability, like
I did like it. Well, then they were right.
Because that's the thing. Like early reviews are always going to be skewed because only so many people, so many outlets can see it early on. So like, I don't know. All the buzz immediately blew up when those Rotten Tomatoes scores hit. Like, oh my God, this movie's going to be incredible. This is going to be the second coming. And it was so I kept my expectations in check because like. even when it got down to like 96, it's like that's up there with like that's the same score as like Logan, Fury Road, Alien. Like I did not expect this was going to be like a groundbreaking film, and I think that's a big part of why I liked it is the fact that I didn't expect too much of it. There were things that I expected not to like, and I was pleasantly surprised. But I don't know. I was ready for something. I was ready to give it a fair chance. I guess I'll say that.
I mean, I came in personally with very little. I didn't watch many trailers. All I know was the theme, and I knew very little about Wonder Woman. But this movie, one thing I'll say is that it got me interested in Wonder Woman. Made me want to like know more as a character because my only idea of her is like the 1960s version, which is very cheesy.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, you know.
I wish they had that theme somewhere. As much as I love the Junkie XL theme.
But did you see like the you know how there was like a thing with Wonder Woman in Bondage, how she's like always tied up in the old show.
Yeah, that's right.
Right at the end, she was like confined in that metal thing by the god.
Oh,
And I'm like, I wondered if that was on purpose because it was like squishing her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Way old OG Wonder Woman was was the dude who created Wonder Woman probably had a couple Wonder Woman outfits in his closet. I'll say that much. But
she was the icon for many, and to see her like be like I guess play a very powerful role in this film was very good in a lot of sense. Like the one way that Adam said that this movie was important not only in like trying to revive the DC universe, but to, I guess, make sure you hit home Wonder Woman as like an icon for women.
Right.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. I don't know if we're just getting right into it, but there's a thing with Wonder Woman's characterization that I really liked and really appreciated.
Let us know. What is it?
Well, the thing is, like you were saying, this is an iconic character that carries a lot of weight for people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of her importance. And that was actually one of the things that I was really worried about. Because I was worried that they were going to take this in the direction of like, oh, this is an important character, so she has to be a tough woman who's like an icon. She's gonna smash the patriarchy, and it's like, no, she's like, she operates on like ideals of hope and love, and she has her flaws and her strengths, and she was just an enjoyable protagonist. And the whole time I was watching this, I was thinking like, this gives me such a nicer, warmer, more triumphant feeling than anything in like Batman v Superman, where it's all about these iconic characters, you know, doubting themselves and does being a hero even matter? Superman's dead, he's a dream, the bat is buried up. And then it's like this one, like, no, Wonder Woman's going to, you know, put on her tiara and get her lasso, and she's gonna go fight. Yeah, she's gonna get her bracelets out. She's gonna deflect some bullets and fight for peace and love. And it's like, yeah, you know, this made me feel good. Mm-hmm. You know, like in the same way that like the John Williams Superman theme makes me feel good. Like there were parts in this movie where I was like, yeah, dude, yeah.
Go get him, Wonder Woman.
I was smiling.
Oh yes.
And I was like, I'm not used to this in modern DC movies. To watch a hero do something heroic and be like, yeah, you know. And I think that's a big part of what makes Wonder Woman, and I think they captured that really well here.
Do you think they hit a nice medium between like the darkness, the dark of Batman v Superman and the?
I think so, actually, because like it's World War One, you know.
Yeah,
so
very
like,
grim time.
It's war, so I like the idea of her being kind of an idealist who is then faced with the realities of war.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And like I don't know, it strikes a good balance. It's not like. It doesn't make light of it where it's like, okay, here's the dark, serious movies, and then here's Wonder Woman. It's a bright and flashy cartoon character. It's like, no, she has her moments of you know, there's moments where it's a feel-good movie, and there's moments where it gets more serious. And I think it balances it pretty well.
You're right. They could have used World War I as a cheap vehicle to make Wonder Woman look good without really demonstrating what those soldiers are going through.
Yeah.
But they really did. Like they put forward the horrors of war in a way that was suitable for this movie.
Yeah.
She wasn't just like, oh, this is easy, and then she waltzes in and destroys no man's land and stuff like that.
Like they could have gone the other way too, where it's like, this is war. No one survived. And it's like, No, man, like it was the same kind of tone I feel as like the first Captain America movie.
I was thinking, yeah.
When they're when they're doing like the War Bonds song, and it's like, yeah, go get him, Cap. Like I was feeling the same thing in this. Like, yeah, Wonder Woman, get him, do it, yeah.
I mean, what was interesting was like the first spoilers, like first.
Yeah,
spoiler review.
Full spoilers for
Like,
anyone.
yeah, like,
anyone new.
Like the first like few minutes, like blah blah blah, she grows up, and then like the Germans invade. You know? It was like really quick. Where it's just like what? Like,
Yeah, I did not expect that.
She got shot, and I'm just like, I was like, all right, this is turning her. By the way, like I'm full on like plebeian with this, or just like I don't really read the comics. I don't follow the comics. I follow like theme and storyline. How good is it compared to like the Marvel movies as like we discussed? And like for me personally, like expectation was. Sorry, I'm backtracking again.
No, bring it back. We're bringing it full circle.
Backtracking wise, it's just like I thought what was interesting about Wonder Woman was just like the fact that it was like World War I, the fact that it was Wonder Woman, so she's iconic within the scene already from the '80s show, right? And then even far back to like the comics when she first started out. So I was like everyone generally knew what Wonder Woman was like, and then everyone else grew up with like Justice League as cartoons.
Yeah.
And then the whole shebang. And what was interesting that I find is that, the difference between Marvel and DC to me was that DC is able to humanize their superheroes more well off than Marvel ever has.
I wouldn't say they humanized.
But
I wouldn't say they humanized
again,
it.
to me, I'm going from the movie perspective because like I haven't read any of the comic books. I haven't like.
I mean, they made her a god in this movie, so.
Was she not? Is she not
She
like a god?
she had. I would say like she had like down to earth, mankind like ideals and stuff, but yeah, like it's like ironic that you say that she was very like humanized, but when in the movie
you could argue that
they
she's not just a
godified
quipping
her.
machine though, like a lot of Marvel characters are.
Oh what?
You could argue that she's not just a quipping machine, like a lot of Marvel characters are.
It's just like like Hulk's already like out there smashing shit.
Yeah, Hulk's easy.
Captain America's just out there.
She seemed
and
like
she's actually cautious about her surroundings.
Yeah, she seemed like she wanted to help people. Like it wasn't like a chore for her.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
You're right,
I'm a superhero. I'm gonna help people. Let's do it.
She was very genuine.
Yeah.
But there was a naivety to that because she didn't understand the world.
But again, that's what makes her human, which is interesting.
I don't know if that makes her human because like it makes her more and more alien because everyone else is trying to explain to her, no, that's not how the world works. You can't just save these people. You have to. It makes her just more ideal, I would say. That's what makes. I feel like
she's like based.
Not trying to debate here.
No. But maybe a better word would be making them less perfect.
In my opinion, they even made her more of a god in a sense where her ideas were really idealized and she knew nothing of the world and she didn't know anything of the world and so she acted as though she didn't know anything of the world.
But she didn't.
Yeah.
It was just. I mean, her naivety was to me a reflection of just World War I as a whole, because everybody going into that was like they had no idea what they were getting into because it's the first modern war. So I mean,
it was the war to end all wars.
They had no idea. I mean, I've listened to like a lot of history on it lately, and that was just the general sentiment. People were like, "Oh yeah, come on, boys, let's get in there."
That blind patriotism.
Let's get in there and end this war.
It made sense that Ares manipulated it. It was World War I that he had his hand in because it was just a big clusterfuck of why are we doing this? But it's like there's allies as opposed to World War II or something else.
Something I was thinking about the entire time was like this is how they explain World War I. Are they going to explain World War II?
Right.
Are they
Vincent
going
and I
to do
talked
it?
about this.
Are they going
to?
So at the end of the movie, Ares is defeated. Oh, look, the god of war is dead. Does that mean no more war? What my thought is that now, with the God of War dead and him not having his hand in the war in world events, wars will now start based on the inner evil of whatever human power. Natural corruption, as opposed to him manipulating the strings.
Yeah, which makes sense because, like you said, World War I was really sticky and messy and
right.
all this.
It makes sense. Someone had to oversee that.
Yeah.
Which may I add, like the ending I felt was super cheesy.
Oh, what you mean the last
It
shot
was-
of her?
Yeah, that was,
But we
it
could-
was a little cheesy. We'll get to that.
There was a
We can
lot
talk
of
about
cheese.
There was
in
some
this movie.
cheese.
I'm writing it down on the agenda.
Yeah.
Talk about the end.
We got
Cheese.
we
Chapter
got
three,
a docket. We're getting
cheese.
more and more
Like,
professional with each
So
podcast.
much cheese.
I have the. We all have the write up.
Like I told Mark this like at the last part, like once the movie ended, I was like, this is pretty much a rated R L'Oreal commercial. I was like,
Her hair was gorgeous.
this
I want
the
that kind of
close-ups,
volume.
everything. I was just like, all right.
Maybe it's
But that's
Photoshop.
slow mo though. Like,
That's slow mo. All right, you want to talk about the slow mo?
oh god. Oh
He
my
needs to talk about the slow mo. Can we talk about the
No,
slow
let's
mo?
not
Was it a
talk
problem?
about
Was it a
I
problem
hate
for you
talking
guys?
about the slow mo.
I'll lead off first. Let's talk about the fight scenes and whatnot.
Sure.
I like
Let
that.
him think of the action.
Which is the
Which
same
one?
thing as talking about the slow.
What?
Actually, no. Towards the end, the slow motion, like they got rid of it a bit.
Yeah.
Or it's like I feel like that it was just.
I had
not
no
as
problems with the slow motion.
I didn't like the slow motion at all.
Except when
I-
it
I-
wasn't
It was just
when
too
it was
much.
used not in combat scenes.
In
I
the
thought that was
beginning, there
annoying.
was just too much.
It was,
There
was a lot.
it was because they
Oh my God.
they set it up with like they show you a bunch of Amazon fighting in the beginning, and it's like, oh, you know, these flips and stuff are really really cool. You know, they move in a really interesting way. It's
I
not
know.
they're- you know, it's not just a race of flying bricks.
Mm.
You know, like there's like acrobatics into it. You
Right.
know, it's stuff that you don't see with a lot of modern superheroes. So it's cool. It's interesting. It's fun to watch. And then later in the movie, they start slowing it down, and it's like, I already know it's cool though. Just if you played this in fast motion, I'd be like, whoa, damn! But now I gotta stop and be like,
Okay.
I honestly had the same issue in Batman vs Superman. And
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman didn't even have as much slow motion
Yeah.
as this movie did. But this movie had just way too much slow motion. Where it was like, can we not have like?
300 directed.
Can we? Why do we have to have so much slow motion? Like it's less appreciable. At this
everybody
point.
gets one. You get one big slow mo.
Yeah.
But if you use it
Because,
in
like,
every fight scene, then
When I remember the first times I saw slow motion in a movie, it was always like this big moment that it enhanced it.
Yeah.
This one they relied on it for its combat. You know what I mean? To make narrative out of the combat, they relied on the slow motion. When you could do combat narratively without slow motion.
Yeah, that's the thing that I noticed too. I'm starting to wonder: is the slow motion not just a Snyder thing? Is this going to be a DC,
DC,
universe
yeah,
thing?
but it's
really
because of
weird.
him.
I think it's I think it's a producer like the execs being like, I like slow mo. Let's put slow mo. This combat needs more slow
You're
mo.
moving too fast for me. Kid.
Yeah, I
Hold
can't
on.
follow.
market data shows
Who did
that
she punch? I
audiences respond well
And like
to slow
while
motion.
we're talking about like just the way some of the action scenes were shot, especially in the beginning during Diana's training scenes,
I got the-
like yeah, there were, like the
Lots
camera was
of
like way
close-ups.
too zoomed in. It was like going like this, and then there was also like way too many cuts. You couldn't tell what was going on.
Towards the end, though, I think towards the middle, like when she was fighting like some of the Germans or whatever, I felt like they were a lot more pulled back with their fight shots.
Yeah.
Than other
Oh,
movies.
yeah.
No,
I
that
agree.
was, that was honestly my favorite scene in the entire movie was the whole No Man's Land scene.
Mhm.
Oh, that was
Because
great. That was great.
they just let you see the action. There wasn't any of this like Batman Begins tier, like it's got to be an extreme close up and the
Yeah.
camera has to be shaking. Like no, it's a medium shot of the room and she beats the shit out of everybody and you get to watch it all.
Mhm.
I don't
And you go, damn, she beat the shit out of everybody.
Or when they started playing the theme when she
Yeah.
busted
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
When she was getting out of the trench.
She absorbs all the damage. She takes on the role of a
Yeah,
tank.
to honest,
and
that was pretty sick. Like
she takes on a tank
that-
role, and
I
all the
agree.
other little MOBA guys come in.
I gotta say that sequence is
That's right,
the
yeah.
best in that movie.
It was.
I would feel
it
like I feel
was
honestly I
awesome.
like that sequence more than the God fight. Like
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
We'll
That's
get-
fucking
we'll get to it. Come on.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll
We'll get
slow
to
away.
that.
Let's talk about if we're talking about fights. Let's start off with
Well,
the fight at the.
We'll talk about the third act later.
The mini.
Yeah, that's a whole talking point.
What's the name?
Themyscira?
Themyscira. Yeah,
Themyscira, yeah.
Themyscira.
So the training sequence.
Training.
The training of the training
Or the,
sequence.
or the,
I was gonna talk
the
about
Germans
the
land.
troops. The
The
troops
Germans
landing.
land.
I have something to say
The
about that.
Normandy
You go.
Bay of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Germans.
I like that.
So I thought that scene was actually
Which one?
reasonably well the
Germans.
invasion,
Okay.
the German
Yeah.
invasion of Themyscira. My only thing was like it didn't make sense in terms of time. So like when the Amazons see them, they're at least like ways out from shore, and then in the next shot you see them on shore.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. It was too quick.
Magic.
I mean,
I
there
get
was a
it.
big cloud
I
of
get that it's
Zeus
movie
magic. I
magic,
don't know.
but given how
They're fucking like destroyers saying.
the way I saw it.
What happened to that?
Oh yeah, I don't know why it was
No, it's
sinking.
because it's like a Bermuda Triangle kind of thing. Technology fucks up in
Fuck.
there.
I guess.
Okay, I can.
I
Zeus
guess.
magic.
It's Zeus magic. It's static electricity.
I mean, they never explained that.
That's
Yeah.
Okay, that is something I'm gonna.
There's a lot of things they don't explain.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hijack this as a jumping off point.
Go ahead,
This is one thing that kind of bugged me with this movie, is like a lot of it works really really well, but it also feels like it's rushing at a lot of points. In
Like
that
what?
it overlooks a lot of things. Like for example, you know, I know enough about Wonder Woman. I don't know a whole lot about Wonder Woman, especially because she's had so many different origins over the years.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
would say,
watching.
I don't mind interrupt.
Oh,
For
yeah,
the majority
yeah.
of audiences here, I'm sure our biggest exposure to Wonder Woman is the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah,
Right.
which this is
And for
basically
parents,
like
the
characterization wise, this is basically the same kind as the Timverse one, and I like that a lot.
Mm.
But one of the things, this is something that I was thinking of for a while, is like they just sort of show her later on in the movie using like superpowers. You know, like she could jump like really really high, and she could pick up a tank and everything. And
That's
so
what all Amazonians.
yeah, I'm thinking like, can all Amazons do that, or
Yeah.
are they just like really good warriors, or is she special? Is this because they trained her 10 times as hard? Like, they overlook a lot of stuff like that, because it would seem like her being like a super Amazon would be something that would be known.
No, I think she was definitely above average because
Yeah.
like remember how she snuck into the God Killer chamber?
Mhm.
She
Yeah.
shoved her hands
Yeah.
through the stone.
I
I feel like if
That was the
everyone
thing
could
where
do
I was
that,
like,
they'd have better
oh,
security.
is she just figuring out that she's super strong because
I
up to
think
this
so.
point she's been
Yeah.
sparring.
See,
Yeah.
the
You know?
problem-
But they don't confirm.
I think the foreshadowing of that is with the
When she climbs the
general. No,
bracelets.
when the general kept saying to her like, "You're stronger than this. You're holding back."
Oh, okay,
I think
so it
that's
was
the foreshadowing.
It was them
like,
foreshadowing
like,
that she's the God
like,
Killer.
Okay.
she
Yes.
actually, they know
They're
like she actually is
you're,
God strength.
you're a superhuman, but we're
Yeah.
not going to tell
Yeah,
you.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
See, that's what I got confused by because like she goes from like oh well I can punch these like little holes into this wall to like oh there's a tank good because I can lift that and I know it. It was like well I mean there's no precedent for that.
Yeah,
Well,
I
there
think
was-
it's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like she was too afraid to use all her strength because she wasn't sure if she
Right.
could or not. And
There was
And
a lot of little things. Like there was that. There was how, like. She joins up with the little cadre of multicultural misfits to go
That
fight
was
World
fun.
War One.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
But that's the thing. Like they go off, and they go off on their little mission, and then she is just Wonder Woman, and it's like, well, wait, do they know that she's like? Do they just assume that she's like a woman
They're
who's
like-
really good at fighting, or do they know that she has super strength?
yeah,
Like, for example, I was constantly waiting for one of those guys to look at her and be like, "What are you?"
yeah. I was
And that
waiting.
doesn't. And I think someone does actually ask. I think the general asks
Yes.
that all the way at the end.
Very end.
Yes.
But it's like it brushes over a lot of things that admittedly aren't that important. Like it doesn't really matter if everybody who's on Team Wonder Woman knows what Themyscira is. But it's stuff that was like it feels like it would have had a line in any other movie.
I mean, it's the
You know.
cliche of like, show, don't tell.
Yeah, like it.
Or
It was.
foreshadow, or it's just like,
There were little bits of this movie where it felt like maybe
I feel like-
30 seconds to a minute of footage was missing.
No, I agree. Like during that battle, during the No Man's Land, the town Vald town, right? It was Vald or whatever.
Build.
Veld. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like in the beginning when she got out of the trench and started like taking on the bullets, like none of them really questioned it. They just were like, "What is she doing?"
They're like, "Oh no, she's
Yeah.
gonna get shot."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she, they don't question why are you in a
I feel like that
in a
was
gold, blue, and
that's
red
like not like that's
singlet.
not the reaction I would have. I would not be like, "Oh, she's taking the bullets. Let's get out of the trench." Right? I'd be like, how is she taking the
It
bullets?
took
I was like,
Steve
I was
to
talking about-
encourage people to
Yeah,
get out
you're
because
right.
no one knows what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
You're waiting
like,
for that. You're waiting.
Yeah,
You know what I was waiting for? I was waiting for the Captain America bit where, like, you know how in the first Captain America, after he saves all the guys, they're like, they walk up to him, they pat him on the shoulder, they're like, "So Captain America saved us," and they start like seeing him as a superhero. I was waiting for that scene where a bunch of the soldiers came up and they're like,
You're a wonder.
They're like, "You know what they're calling you in the trenches? They say Wonder Woman saved this town, or something." Where it's like, "Oh, she's a superhero." She's a metahuman. We all recognize that. I was waiting for that scene because then it just moves on and it's like, so do they? How much do they know? Like, do they assume? Oh, she's just
A fever dream.
she's a freak in a spangly outfit who saved us. Cool. Or are they like,
Yeah,
oh,
no.
that's Diana of Themyscira? Or like,
the entire town was just like partying it up, and they didn't even question her.
Hold on.
I'm kind of nitpicking here, but it was stuff that was a little distracting.
Wait, hold on. Can we talk about how they went to the one part of town that was literally untouched by any war?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that store looked perfect.
It was. Oh,
that
the
bar
beer-
looked
the
perfect.
dance scene?
The restaurant.
Yeah.
That one area looked
Okay,
perfect.
It's all that's left, Adam.
I don't think that. I don't think every town that's been through war was ruined. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some towns were just like occupied, like without war.
If there was
your
one
point.
thing that is going to be kept in good condition in an occupied town, it's going to be the
bar.
I would thought like maybe like the top would have had like a room that was blown up or something, but like no, it was like in pristine condition.
Well, they're not gonna go to the blown up.
This is a small town.
I'm nitpicking.
This is a small town, and I would assume that like France would not have sent forces to try to reoccupy it, and so it was just occupied without force, and so it wouldn't have been touched. It was just like tanks rolled in, everyone was like, all right, we're slaves now, I guess.
Cool.
He's like, I don't want to get blown up.
Especially at the time of warfare, because I mean that would have been, they were going for months, years at a time, barely moving an inch. So
Yeah.
Would they have ever had the
Oh yeah, exactly. I guess they were trying to reoccupy it. They were they just never reached it. Yeah.
All right, so I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something, Mark, or?
No, just.
I never found that
that little nitpick.
Where they didn't call her Wonder Woman?
No, not even that. Just how there were
The reactions of people.
There were a few instances of like I can I know that she's Wonder Woman and she's from Themyscira and I know all of this stuff because I'm the viewer watching the movie. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know if the characters know everything that I know, so it was a little bit of.
It's like
what were you looking for them
it's
to
like
do?
unspoken, like
yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's like they're not acting the way you think they would react.
Dramatic irony.
If I was in that position, I would not react the way they were reacting. Yeah.
Evan, you were saying something?
He was just like
Dramatic irony.
yeah.
What were you looking for that was missing?
I don't know, just like
Acknowledgement.
it felt
Acknowledgement of her
Of
like.
what?
It felt,
Oh, that's crazy. Or, gotcha.
I don't know. I don't know specifically, but it felt like there were some bits of exposition that I feel like might have been there, but were probably cut or something. Like, like going back to the whole like, does she know she's the God Killer thing? Like that could have been made a little clearer. It could just.
Well, they have to hold that. They had to hold that.
Yeah, like, or not even that she is the God Killer. Just like, are all Amazons this strong? Is she special?
Yeah. See, I was confused. I was like, because I was under the impression that Amazonian women had like super strength, right? And so
I think they did in the cartoon.
Some instances they do, some instances they
Right.
don't. Because that's the thing. Like, I was surprised they kept the whole like, I was, my mother made me out of a ball of clay thing. Because that's like the old OG Wonder Woman origin.
Oh yeah.
Now I think New 52 they just straight up made her the daughter of Zeus, which they kind of did here.
Right, because the clay was a lie.
Yeah, like she's been through a lot, and
The Amazonian women never showed any instance of strength though, so I never questioned it.
like that's the thing. Like
When?
I mean, they jumped off a fucking cliff and were like.
I guess they landed good. That's true.
I mean, they tried to beat up a black woman up on top of his pedestal.
I think they showed strength. Perhaps not superhuman strength.
Right.
there's one thing that made me kind of laugh for no reason. It was just in that wide shot showing like all the Amazons training. There was one in the lower corner just kicking a log, and it made me laugh really hard.
Alright, so why don't we talk about that? How did you guys feel about what was the first act, which is really on Themyscira? How did you feel about that character development and what you saw?
That would be more
There was.
Greek.
It was good.
There was.
Thanks, Chris.
It was not shake the feeling that there was like a cheese in the air from the very beginning. I don't know. There was something like I couldn't take it seriously for some reason.
That they're all riding around on horses.
I don't know.
And speaking with their
for me,
accent.
the early part, I'm not sure if like this is just how kids are right like nowadays or something like that. But I didn't think that the child actress for Wonder Woman was that great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She was.
I don't know if it was.
I don't
want
to say she was bad because then
Yeah.
I'm making fun of a little girl.
Yeah.
But
Bad? I didn't.
I don't
she
know.
wasn't
It just
great.
Honestly-
She wasn't no Stranger Things kid. We'll say that.
yeah.
She was younger.
Honestly,
right?
if you took out like the whole growing up part and just go straight to the movie, you're fine.
Well, I mean, the growing up is supposed to give us exposition, and it's
What
also
she's
supposed
like.
to give us development on like the relationship with her mother as well as her
Yeah.
aunt. So I guess
Ooh, that storytelling.
Yeah.
That
It was
entirely
iffy
like
in
this
the
is an
beginning.
this is the world we're saying. Like it was like I felt weird about that. I was iffy about that. Like when she was like, I need to tell you a story about our people and and the gods and the Ares and
Really?
Zeus and
I didn't need the whole.
yeah.
We didn't need the framing device of her answering an email to Batman because that That's one thing I don't want to be reminded of is Wonder Woman sending emails to
Yeah,
Batman.
I agree. Because like that like
Don't make that a
that
theme
first scene of
in this
the
movies.
movie, I was just, why'd you have to do that?
Yeah.
Why did we have to tell?
And
this
that
movie like
doesn't
that?
make any sense in terms of why she came back anyway. And on top of that, while we're talking about convincing, why the fuck did it only take one conversation with him? I'm like, you know what, you're right. We should train her. How'd they never had that conversation before?
They didn't address why Wonder Woman didn't stop the Holocaust from happening.
Yeah.
And that's...
I mean,
that's
beyond that, but like, she catches her and she's like, how could you betray me for training my daughter?
Okay,
and
yeah.
then,
Hippolyta catches Aunt Buttercup training young
Aunt
Wonder
Buttercup.
Woman to
for fighting. Yeah.
Training her. And she's like, why, I don't want my daughter to be able to defend herself against attackers now.
I don't want her to fulfill her destiny.
And it's
Well, you realize she has to fulfill her destiny. You're right.
You know what?
I think she was just a like a selfish mother where she's like, I want to
overprotective mother.
This is a bit of an unfortunate thing because, like, I remember as the scene was happening, I was thinking, like, Hippolyta, what the fuck? Like, you're a race of warriors. Literally, all you do is like ride horses and fight each other. Why don't you want your daughter, the princess, the one who will inherit everything you own,
that you had
and
with a
lead
god.
everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you not want her to fight?
Yeah, I
And
think it's overprotection.
And it's like later we learn like, oh, it's because she's the god killer, and if you make her strong, Ares will sniff her out, and then her job is to go fight, a
Ares
god. And
potentially.
it's like, okay, I get it. She is the weapon that you never want to take out of the gun vault. I get that.
For me, I think.
But it was a little distracting.
Yeah, like the way she talked about the sword is what she was really feeling for her daughter.
They could have come up with a way, I think, to get that across. Because like as is, if you're watching the movie for the first time, Hippolyta just comes off as kind of irrational.
Yeah.
But I think that they could have found a way to make it work where she didn't want Diana to be a fighter. And it would be like, you'd be like, okay, I understand you, but she has to be Wonder Woman. And then later you could go, oh, you didn't want her to fight because of the god.
Yeah.
She's the god.
I think what it comes down to is just that the transition from her saying no, don't do it to yes, train her was literally within 30 seconds.
It was jarring.
Yeah.
Well, also like letting her go.
Yeah.
Wasn't that was just weird? She's
Yeah.
like, I'm not
See
gonna
you
stop
never,
Yeah,
daughter.
like how long was like the time period of like her starting training and then when Steve Trevor shows up?
Well, she was a teenager when they were found initially. Remember, and then the convincing happened, and then we have current Wonder Woman. I don't know how old she is biologically.
She might have been slow growth.
She was teens then, but now she's what?
If she's supposed to be a teenager, she looks old as fuck for a teenager.
She's supposed to be a teenager this whole movie.
She's not a teenager.
No,
that's what I
there's
thought.
no
I
way.
really think she's supposed to be.
Yeah. When they found her training, she was like 13, like
when she was
just going through
training
puberty type thing.
No, but like Amazons don't grow normally.
She's special because she was made out of clay. That's the other thing too. Is like this is harkening back to what I mean, like little things that they don't explain that are kind of distracting but not altogether that important. Like and I am nitpicking here, but it's like, is Diana the only child on Themyscira? Why does nobody else age but she ages? Is it because she's the god killer? If she's the only, like
maybe like
Why is there school?
if she's the only,
She's the only kid.
if she's
Why
the
haven't
only
they developed any technology beyond swords and?
that's because
bows and arrows.
that's only they're within themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't talk.
You know,
Isolation.
they can't find tungsten on.
This is like
They might not have ever seen a gun.
a lot of technology is built
Like,
not
Through
just
cultural
through-
exchange.
Yeah.
You know, like if she's
Yeah.
the only if she's the only child because her mom made her out of clay, that's fine. Fine. But if she's not the only child, how do the Amazons reproduce? There ain't no men there.
They
You know,
they
like-
said she was the only, she was the only child.
Yeah,
Well,
no, that's
did
what
they
we're saying.
explain that?
They said
Yeah.
that she was the only child there
Oh, I
in
must have
passing,
missed
but
that.
just like, why is she the only child? Can they not
Right.
reproduce? How come no one else ages?
It's I think it's because the
It's that simple.
What?
yeah they don't need to reproduce because Amazons are the immortal antivirus.
Oh,
that
you know,
gets stuff
I
out.
understand that.
Not
Wait,
gonna
did they
use
know
Ares.
there's
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were created.
Yeah.
They were, oh yeah.
That was one thing. That was one thing I was a little iffy on. Was
Maybe that
there
explains
was
it, I
a big fat exposition dump in the first like 10 minutes of this movie. It's like we start out with Wonder Woman narrating about being Wonder Woman, and then she starts talking in an email to Batman, and then she goes into a flashback, and then Wonder Woman's mother starts explaining Amazons, and then Wonder Woman's aunt jumps in without announcing herself and picks up the exposition about Amazons, and then they explain who Ares is and who Zeus is, and then they go into more flashbacks, and it's like, oof. Like, until Steve Trevor shows up, this movie's...
Exposition.
Yeah, this movie is... Yeah. I won't say it's shit, 5 pounds of shit in a 2 pound bag, but it's 5 pounds of something in a 2 pound bag.
So okay, I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
I think the for me what it comes down to in terms of like us being so uncomfortable with like the initial exposition. If you look at Captain America: The First Avenger, which is a very similar film if you actually really think about it.
Yeah.
By the time that he leaves, we completely understand why he's leaving. We see his character. We know that he's someone that wants to fight even if he can't fight.
Yeah.
Whereas with Wonder Woman, like, she hears about all this death and then she suddenly starts crying, kind of thing, and it feels so like, yes, I understand that you want to, that it's a genuine thing that you want to help people, kind of thing.
New to her.
But it's never explained. Like, you never see that care for others or something like that. You know what I mean? We see, like, if you look at Captain America, for example, we see so many different times about how he, how he puts himself above others, how he's bullied, how he's the little guy, how he's the guy that. He's just that kid from Brooklyn. Yeah. He's not Captain America. Whereas Wonder Woman, you don't see that, I guess, that evolution maybe or something like that. You don't understand why she leaves so suddenly, why she's so willing to leave, kind of thing.
Well, I think for the Captain America thing, we see his nobility off the bat throughout the entire exposition. For Wonder Woman, she just had, like, I think it goes to say, like, she leaves out of sheer, like, love for life and
she has to do something.
Yeah, and hatred towards Ares essentially, and
doesn't Steve Trevor?
But then it comes off as naivety in the movie because it's like she just wants to save these people, but she doesn't really understand like what that entails.
She experienced death on the island for the first time with that war scene, which I'm sure was traumatic. And then she hears that 25 million people are dead in this giant world war. There's like 100 Amazons on the island, so that number is probably astounding to her. And she's wondering, why aren't we helping?
Not working at all.
Because the sword was not the god killer, she herself was the god killer.
Oh, so
the history,
that was the lie her mom did.
Yes.
The history of the Amazon states that they are the cure to man's folly, I guess. So why aren't we doing anything, Mom?
Yeah. That was actually something that I really liked about this movie is how the whole thing is like a big hurrah for like idealism, because it's like the Amazons and everybody in man's world have the same exact problem of, well, of course we'd like to help and it's a shame that all those people are dying. But and it's just, well, no, why can't we just do a good thing? And it's like it's optimistic and hopeful, and it's not at all what the rest of the DC has been doing.
It's super weird that her mom was preventing her from completing her destiny because they're meant to be idealized like beings and that they weren't corrupted, but her mom's corrupted with like being overprotective and preventing her daughter from completing her destiny.
Right. Like she's not perfect. She's morally perfect, maybe, but she's not a perfect person.
Perhaps, yeah.
I think for me, ultimately, what it comes down to for the beginning, that first act, is that we had like, what was that, 30 minutes maybe? Like it was a pretty good amount of time, I think, and it felt like we got so much, but it didn't give us actually what we were looking for. Like I was just like, well, that was cool, I guess. Like I didn't care about the mom that much. I didn't even care about her aunt that died that much. Like they're trying to give you all these things to make you care about Diana and her familial relationship, set up her character. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel like how I did, for example, even with Thor and that setup in terms of why he gets exiled and his relationship with his father and his brother. Or if you look at Captain America and that setup as well.
It spreads itself a bit too thin for the emotional beats that it puts forth that early on.
Right. Yeah, and as Mark said, it feels like it's rushing.
Yeah, there are emotional beats later that pay off super well.
Yeah.
But the first act of the movie, it feels a little like it's in a bit of a hurry, but it's not really getting anywhere.
I feel like this movie.
But there were parts of it that I liked.
I feel like one of the big points this movie was pitched was like, okay, we're gonna have a movie with two gods fighting each other in the end, and people are like, Let's get on board. And they're like, all right, now write it. And we're like, oh fuck, we have to explain the entire world, and we don't want to spend 2 hours doing that. So let's just cram it into these 30 minutes.
Do people still know the Greek gods?
Yeah,
Disney's Hercules didn't come out that long ago, right? They know that, right?
There's
Zeus, there's
Ares,
Medusa, I think.
They didn't even name them. It was just Zeus and Ares. Didn't say anyone else.
and the other gods.
They showed Poseidon, and I was like,
Aquaman!
yeah!
They're just the other gods. They're just they kill the other gods. That's it.
There's
all
definitely gonna be
dead.
Poseidon jokes.
Wait, is Aquaman like son of Poseidon?
Nah, I think the trident might have come from Poseidon.
When they interact, I'm
Neptune,
sure like
they say.
Poseidon jokes
Oh,
will
is that
occur.
okay.
Calling it
Well,
now.
they might be the same guy.
All right, so let's move on into the movie. The next part of the film is when they meet Steve Trevor, and there's that whole thing.
I thought his character was really.
Steve Trevor was cool.
Steve was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Kind of
I thought he was.
Which is actually sad because sometimes I was like more interested on his storyline over Wonder Woman. I was like, who is the main character in this film? Is it Steve or is it Wonder Woman? Because I can't tell. I thought it was Steve at some point.
His arc of a pragmatist learning to like the arc of like a soldier learning to be like, okay, I know we can't do this, but I fucking need to, was kind of more interesting than.
I am the God Killer.
Then Wonder Woman learning.
Then
like some people are good and some are bad.
Then Wonder Woman going through a John Hughes movie. So let me ask you this: we see that initial scene between Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor. That was, talking about I'm above average. You know that. How did you guys feel? Naked? The pool. How did you guys feel about that?
Come to me last. Come to me last on this one.
I thought it was funny. It was funny at first, but it kept going.
It did keep going, didn't it?
Kept going. I was like, oh.
Wait. The line or that scene?
It's the whole
That
scene.
That whole scene.
Just like is this really necessary?
I think
Like,
it was,
did they have to have
the
the
people
dick
next
joke?
to me were like really loud, and I don't know if I could appreciate it or not. Like I'm skewed.
I think
Some people
they
love it.
had to acknowledge the fact that like this is her first encounter with a man,
Right.
and so what's the most obvious difference? And so let's play on that.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of because they kind of have those kind of jokes throughout the film, like when they're fucking sleeping on the boat, like tell me about sex, like
that was
all right,
That was
guys.
funny. That one was. I thought that was kind of funny and
thought that was
endearing. That was like more. It was.
You gotta. I mean, this is especially in that time period where how he is raised.
Yeah.
Like it's very.
It was
like,
making fun of all sides. Yeah.
Right. No, what I was gonna say is, given those scenes and like how those dynamics between them, do you think that not only were they funny and like
Are you asking if it was tastefully done?
Yeah, funny, tastefully done, but also do you think that it built the chemistry between those two characters? Do you think there was actually chemistry between Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman?
No.
And do you think that romance actually got built up?
I think that
romance.
I think they.
Oh yeah, I guess they did have sex.
I think that they had.
Oh yeah.
It's implied.
Implied.
Oh yeah, I guess it
Yeah.
couldn't have. 'Cause,
I actually like that shot.
This doesn't
a lot.
usually happen.
Yeah.
It was
Tasteful.
a tasteful shot.
Yeah, I think that I think they had very good on-screen chemistry when they were not getting involved in wacky hijinks.
Mhm.
I think that the humor is by far the absolute worst part of this movie because, there were some jokes that I really, really liked that I think really worked, but all of the stuff specifically between Diana and Steve Trevor was so forced, and it's like you're allowed like a couple of those.
Yeah.
You're allowed like a few jokes like that. But when the whole thing for me, like I was sitting next to Adam, you were going into friggin' convulsions during that pool scene. Just what is that? Like looks down at his dick. He stayed silent. They left a pause for people to laugh for like 30 seconds, and like people were like chuckling, but it was so much dead air. And he was like, "It was a watch," and it's like you already blew it. You blew your timing. The timing was so off on all of these jokes.
Timing.
That's awful.
Janice banned from all future.
Like, they did so many of those just cringe-inducing. Like you could do a couple of those. You could do a couple of gags like that, where like they're on the boat. She sets up like the bedroll, and he goes to like sit. She's like, "Do men not sleep?" He's like, "No, we sleep. Do you not sleep with women?" I mean, I sleep with women, but like that's fine. But when you turn one joke into like a 2-minute like back and forth where a minute and a half of that is just awkward pauses, it just falls apart. Like it was so poorly implemented, and it reminded me a lot of how Suicide Squad implemented all those jokes in reshoots because they needed more levity. It didn't feel tonally consistent at all. There were plenty of jokes that felt tonally consistent in this.
I mean,
You know, like the Scottish guy getting his ass beat, and she's like, he's really good at fighting.
Yeah.
No, he's the other guy.
Yeah.
I love the Scottish guy.
Like, that worked good.
I'm a fan of him.
But all of the Steve and Wonder Woman jokes of like, they've got sexual tension. Like, God, we know their love interests. We know. Move along. You know,
I feel like the dick joke was something that they were. We can curse in this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big cursing.
We can. The dick joke was something that was like had to have been done. They just executed it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the
It's
problem.
like
execution.
they have
That's
to
true.
acknowledge her curiosity
Right.
or like the curiosity of
It's
man
new
versus
thing.
woman. Yeah, because she's never seen a man.
Because like they already have the joke of her just being there, where he's like getting out of the bath, and then they just kind of linger on it, and then they could have turned it into a joke of like, you know, what is that? It's a watch. You know, that would have been fine. That would have been a funny little like sensible chuckle.
But then they had to talk about the size of it. And then they had
Yeah.
to talk about
The-
him walking and
being
her just
above
consistently
average.
staring.
The fact that she is that considered above average for you? Like standing there staring at it for like 30 seconds. It's like, well, now you didn't decide which direction you wanted to go with the joke, so you decided to go with all of them, and now the joke doesn't work.
Okay,
At least doesn't work nearly as well as it could have.
So before we continue on with like that whole discussion, I just want to point out, how did they look? Where's the mascara? It's supposed to be near Greece, right?
I don't know, to be honest.
I don't understand
Yeah.
like how they like went to sleep and woke up in London.
Well, no. They said they
got
caught
a
a
ride.
ride. If you saw, they were being towed by a tow.
They
boat.
caught-
Yeah, but even then, like it's implied that she went to sleep and then she woke up there. I understand that they got somewhere quick, but still a boat. It's not like I took a plane.
I mean, he said it was like 400 miles.
I
from,
could-
like,
I could buy them
the
getting
map.
there because Themyscire's got the big magic bubble around it. So like for all we
It
know,
could be anywhere, really.
yeah, for all we know, it could be super close to like Greece and London.
Well,
and
it has
stuff.
to be out of the way
It's gotta
such
be near
that no
Turkey.
other boat
Yeah.
through the past thousands of years passed it.
It has to be
Or
near
1,000
Turkey,
years, I
because
say.
right,
Yeah,
because
you're
they
right.
were at the Ottoman
Yeah.
Empire.
Yeah.
I guess the Ottoman Empire is pretty big, so it could be.
Hang on, I'm pulling up a map.
True, it had to be near. It has to be near
So,
Turkey.
so it's
yeah.
probably Greece then. Some
Yeah.
weird Greek
I don't know how they end up in whatever movie
It
magic.
don't matter.
Yeah. Anyway,
And they
so-
ended up in London.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, going back to their relationship, did you guys feel like the romance was well developed? What
No, what, there was no romance.
Exactly.
There was,
Yeah.
which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
It was
Really?
kind
No, I
of
was
bad.
really happy that there was no romance.
No, I'm saying
There was a romance. It just wasn't
No,
executed well at all.
no. The whatever they had together, I felt like was not love. It was like friendship plus camaraderie
Yeah.
plus
Yeah.
flirt. Oh, this is new
And
and
I
I
think-
want to try it.
Yeah.
I think, but then I think like they.
But then at the end, he says, "I love you."
But
Well,
can
that's
and
love-
then at
you
the
can
end,
love
they had
people in
sex.
many ways, you know.
I mean, war's a
You can
terrible
love your
thing, Adam.
comrade.
War's a terrible thing. You track bonds are
What
kinda
Adam
like
is
that.
concerned about
I think
is
that
that,
we're making
romance
excuses.
is dying in the world, and they did not. They
No.
they
Yeah, all right.
Blew
So
him on the battlefield.
if they were going for an actual like stereotypical movie romance, I agree that it was shit. But I didn't think that was the case.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what they were trying to go for.
I
The
don't think
stereotypical
so.
movie romance.
In my opinion, their chemistry was really well in the movie.
I agree.
Like in the whole,
yeah.
throughout the whole play, it was really good. Like the chemistry was great.
I agree.
It was
I
the
didn't-
romance part. It was forced romance.
I didn't like their comedic chemistry, but I think that it worked out nicely because they complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they both take something. It's not a one-sided romance. It's not like it's not Wonder Woman. You're so tough and cool. I love you. It was like they both they both taught each other different things about
Right.
war,
I
and about
agree.
humanity, and about duty. So it felt very very well balanced, I think. And even though it is a little bit rushed, that it's like. You know, you had little bits of him like checking her out when she's trying on dresses and stuff.
I would too. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
lie.
I mean, you
It's
nobody
like,
can
that,
blame
that
him.
doesn't necessarily denote romantic love,
Right.
but it did feel a little rushed when it's like, and it's the last act of the movie, they love each other, you know. But I wasn't distracted by it, and I wasn't made angry by it. When he said "I love you," I wasn't like, that makes no damn sense.
I was
See, honestly, I would have been fine with everything if he just didn't say "I love you." If he said something along the lines of like "I have to go,"
I
I'm
wish we had
sorry.
more time.
Like I wish we had more time.
That's fair.
Yeah,
And like,
that would
and then you
That's
see you focus on their face and the emotion there instead of saying "I love you." It's just like, man,
It was really
you
cheap.
That's-
ruined it.
You know, that's something else that I noticed. There were a lot of instances, namely two, where it felt like they couldn't decide on a cool enough ending line, so they just went with all of them. And it was like when he's leaving her to run off and blow up the plane, he's like, what is it exactly he says? He's like, you can save the world, but I can save the day.
Yeah.
I gotta do
today,
this. I gotta go. I wish we had more time. I love you. And then
No, I wish we had more time. Pull out the watch.
Pull out the watch. Get it? I love you.
Yeah.
Runs off. And then it was the same thing.
Why
with,
did he pull out the watch when he was like, I can save today, you can save the what? And he just gave
Wish we had
and
more
he gave the watch
time.
then!
And then
Wait, what?
If he gave her the watch when he was talking about you can save today, or like...
We wish we had more time to
Time.
watch.
Oh, yeah, no, he didn't do it then. Instead of saying when I love you, there were so many different better times.
You're right.
Yeah, I thought he gave the watch when he said,
wish we had more
we wish we had more time. That's when he gave the watch.
I
He
thought
goes,
he
I
was
wish we had
like,
more
I love you.
No, he gave the watch, then said I love you and walked away.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Alright, whatever. That's
No, but
You know what? We're going back.
No. They did that again though when she was leaving Themyscira and her mom was saying goodbye to her. She was, she was like, once you leave, you can never return. But who would I be if I stayed? You're too good for them. They don't deserve you. Man's world is harsh. You are my greatest love and my greatest my greatest sorrow.
Yeah, today
I
you're
love
right,
you.
yeah.
Goodbye. And it's like any one of those would have been a really powerful badass line.
Get out.
This
Wow,
is going
yeah,
on for like 10 phrases too many.
You know what it was? Is
Yeah.
that they were filming and they're like, yeah, just improv. Just
They were like,
improv.
oh, those lines are all
That's
so
good.
good.
You know what? We're
Just do
keeping it all.
Just
Keeping
do
it all.
Keep it all.
film everything. We'll figure it out in post. Don't worry.
Oh, should we make the joke about his dick or about his watch? I'll do both. Do all of them. Go. Do it all.
You know what? They're so good. Let's keep both. Let's keep both.
All right. So
I can't choose. They're too good. I can't choose.
okay. So
Let's do both.
I think like I agree with Mark. I think that their chemistry was good, and even their relationship, I was fine with. It's when it's all goes up to it's all fine until he says I love you. It's like man.
I agree. They should have cut it at. I wish we had more time. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
People are leaving.
Do you need a ride, JJ?
Say goodbye, audience.
Okay.
Bye. They said
Bye,
bye. They
anyways.
said bye.
Do you guys have any other comments about
We're still here.
their relationship or their dynamic in the film?
I had no problems with it.
I did not like the fact of like, I guess what you guys calling Deus Ex,
Mm-hmm.
right?
What?
Where it's just like he dies and then her god powers awaken. I'm like,
Her earthly tether
I was
is
just
gone.
like-
Literally a Deus Ex, being a god.
I'm just like, is this not enough? Like they did this in Superman, they did this in a few other.
I guess that ending seemed bleh.
The third act is a mess.
I don't know.
We'll talk about that later.
I was like, really? It's like you're gonna just unlock your powers because your boyfriend just died. I'm like, give me another.
Well, let me ask you this before we move on to like the other aspects of the film, and I think we'll save the third act for last because that's going to be at least a 20-minute discussion.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about how when they initially talked, you couldn't hear it because of the airplane? And then
that
she
ending?
could,
Yeah, the end.
and then she later thought about it and could hear it later. Because I thought that the ending scene where you couldn't hear it, but you just saw the emotion was so powerful.
Yeah,
I thought that was so powerful.
I was like, you
I
should have
really-
just looked at it as that.
I really wish
Yeah, it
that
did-
they didn't
yeah.
have her flash back because holy shit, that would have been heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Of just
I'm surprised.
he's gonna go save the day and kill himself for the greater
Oh
good.
shit, you're right.
And you don't know what he just said. He said a lot of shit to you, and all you have is a watch.
Yeah, all I wish that
Well,
I
okay,
could
that
have
would've
heard was
been great.
the
I wish we had more time.
I wish we had more time, then that's it.
No,
I
I
thought
wish.
that
No,
was
I
great.
wish it was
you're
like.
right, yeah, wow.
I wish like it started off with her saying like, no, I can do it. Whatever you gotta do, I can do it. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, I have to do this. And then the watch thing, the time. I wish we had more time. Watch. If it was just left at that, I'm okay with that. But the rest was crap. I think they should have. If they did not go back to that scene and fill in the words, I would have left thinking like, why didn't she just take the plane? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, she obviously like. She
That's
couldn't
fair.
because like she
She's
had to
busy,
fight
she's
God.
busy,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, like, why couldn't she like just fly it up and like chuck it or something and like let it blow up in the air?
I think her
Why
being able to
couldn't you
hear
give
later would have
Wonder
been more
Woman the
effective
kryptonite
if
spear?
there were less words. Because like Mark said, it was just
Exactly.
every
Less
line.
words. Less words.
If there were
That
less
was
words, she didn't hear them at first. We're wondering what she said, and we got it later. That I would have been all right with that.
Because honestly, even the way he like goes up to her when she got like hit like fucking like across the face, and he's just like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like even seeing like the genuineness in his care, and because he's saying that, he's just like I know you're okay because you're you, but I have to go.
Realistically, he totally could have just booked it past her, but the
Yeah.
fact that he like helps her up and everything,
The fact that when he tells all his boys to like guys, cover me. And he doesn't go straight for the plane. He goes straight for her first.
Yeah.
And then, like, ugh.
There's heart to it.
Yeah.
There's heart to this movie, and that's something that's been missing from a lot of the DC
and,
Yes.
years.
and part of the problem is that it mostly comes from Steve Trevor and not Wonder Woman.
I
disagree.
will agree, but I will say that Wonder Woman does present a fair amount.
Agree.
of heart.
I agree. I just think Steve Trevor has
I think Steve Trevor has the majority of heart, but that does not mean that there's a massive heart deficit between her and
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah.
Trevor.
It's because Wonder Woman's learning to love.
Yeah.
Steve Trevor knows how.
It's because she's too naive.
I don't know why that made me laugh.
All right.
I'm above average.
Okay. How did you guys feel about? I guess we'll go into the other characters, the various side characters and allies, and then we'll talk about the villains. And I suppose
really
then we'll get
enjoyed-
into the.
Wait, hold
the
on.
third
I
act.
have it here as the multicultural misfits.
Yes. How did you guys feel about the multicultural misfits?
I like
How
those
did the
dudes,
Reddit
actually.
come from?
It reminds me of
There's
like
a lot of brown people around
Yeah, the Egyptian dude too, right?
because like that's what Britain was at the
Was
time.
he Egyptian?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Middle
it's just
Eastern.
like Middle
Sammy
Eastern.
Davis Jr.
There's some
Was
Middle
that supposed to be
Eastern.
Sammy Davis Jr.? It looked like Sammy Davis,
It
and
was
his
not
name was
Sammy.
Sammy, and
It
he
was
wanted to be an
not-
actor.
That's honestly,
I would
that's
not
honestly
reference.
how I remembered his name.
Personally,
Because
I would
not
not
only
have
was his
made
name
that
Sammy,
claim.
but he did look exactly
Native
like Sammy
Americans
Davis
have,
Jr.
like,
Personally, I would not have made that
British
claim.
Empire
That
had
dude
a
is a
lot.
dead ringer for Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, I thought that was intentional.
But also the Middle
All right.
East.
So how did you guys feel about it?
I had no problems with him. I thought it was
No,
hilarious.
I was like, what? I was
Yeah,
like,
you're
first-
like token person.
First,
Yeah.
like we meet up with this Middle Eastern dude. We were like, all right, I'm down with this. This is cool. And then like Scottish Cockney guy, like,
Like,
some,
makes sense.
I was like,
It
are you
almost-
yeah, in British? Like, yeah, sure, I guess. And then they pull out this Native American guy. What are you doing? Yeah. Who the fuck? Why are you so far from home?
I like it.
It was literally cheap.
Like,
I was like, what the?
I really liked his line where he was just like, where he talked about how like, oh, who killed your people? His
people.
those
His
people.
people.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was good, but like,
Maybe that.
why he came out of
But that
nowhere.
didn't do anything to further the plot. Like we didn't.
Yeah,
like,
they never touch on that
Address
ever
it.
again.
I
That's
think,
true.
I think,
I thought they were
no,
trying to-
I think that line was very important.
I
Because
agree.
because the whole thing
Good
is
foreshadow.
it's Wonder Woman learning that morality isn't always black and white. That bad people
Right.
aren't always Ares just sitting there with puppet strings,
Right.
making them do bad. So it's like, oh wow, that sounds awful. Who did that? Oh, his ancestors.
It's like,
And
he's a
it's
good
like
guy.
it's like
But that's my Steve.
yeah, exactly. That's like
But
it's
his
like
dick is-
it's Wonder Woman. It's
He's
Wonder
above
Woman's morality
average.
of going, oh, but time has passed and now you guys are on the same side.
Mhm.
But
and
did,
it's
did she
like-
really learn her lesson? Because even after that, she's like, "Oh, Ares is in you. Like you, or like you.
I
Become,
think-
you know what I mean?"
Well, that was solved after she kind of.
She was learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was learning.
That was
Only
her
after
freaking
she
out about it.
shish kebab the dude to the top of that radio tower.
I think that
It all come clear.
I think that it was. I agree with Mark in terms of how it plays into it. I just think having some random Native American come out of nowhere.
I'm actually
I can see the
I'm
problem.
looking
I
up
can
right
see
now
the
to see if he is in fact a
Like
character.
Chief's character could have been strong for the fact that he could have supported Wonder Woman.
hmm
Oh.
He
I think-
could've-
I think he-
because the thing is like the Native Americans have their own gods.
No,
and
this
goddesses
is
too.
actually.
Oh,
I actually hold on.
Smoke signals.
yeah.
That was cool though. I like that.
Oh my
No, but the thing is like
They
the
all
smoke
have
signals are
jobs.
obvious.
Yeah.
The Egyptian
The
guy
smoke
brought
signals
him
do they
to-
know what it is? But do they know what it is though?
It's not the fact that Germans don't know what it is. It's,
just
the
like,
fact that like
there's smoke over there, yeah.
There's no war.
Yeah.
Checks it out.
No, what I want to, because I think that what you're going through is right. I think that introducing the Native American character earlier would have been good because it would have been a very, very good foil to Steve
Yeah.
Trevor.
Yeah.
Because Steve Trevor, he's like good-ish, but I think Wonder Woman talking to the Native American, kind of having like these morality talks would have been really, really
Oh,
good.
yeah, you're right.
I think that would have been very, very cool for her development, and also development of him, because literally he says that, and then he's just that dude that throws grenades and does a smoke signal.
Yeah, because
No,
again, like the Native
He also
American-
identified that it was hydrogen based.
Yes, of course, because Native Americans are so good at that.
He's smart, all right. He's breaking
Aztecs figured it
stereotypes,
out,
all right. Are you saying that Native Americans can't be scientists?
Oh my god.
It was like to me,
2%.
it's the fact that like the Native Americans have their own code of warriors, same as the Amazonians.
Right. You know, there's a lot. You're right.
Yeah,
there's a lot
that
to be done.
cultural exchange would have been really, really cool. I think.
Mhm.
But just like they completely went over their heads, and I'm just like, he's just a token Native American, I guess. He's just they just call him Chief because he just smokes.
I mean, think of
people
the
out.
time period. That's why I thought it was fitting that we have like token ethnicity folks because think of the era that like she's in and that Wonder Woman is from. I like that it all feels like kinda old fashioned to me. It feels like this would not make sense in probably even Captain America because that's a different story. But Wonder Woman's a little more campy. It wouldn't make sense in Thor. It wouldn't make any sense in anything else. I think Wonder Woman is. I mean, the concept of her alone, like a woman going around in like tiaras and she has like the rope, it's kind of campy.
She's supposed
to be a little bit. The fact that she, the daughter of an ancient Greek super race who wears a spangly outfit and deflects bullets with bracelets and also has a lasso. It's kind of an amalgamation of everything that was cool and fantastical in like the 20s.
So I didn't mind it. I could see the gripes with it though, because I mean it's harder to get away with in this day and age.
I think the biggest travesty is that the introductions I thought were really cool.
Yeah.
But then they really don't do much with them.
They're
her friends, and I think that's important.
It's just hands at that point.
They're just people that
they were tools. They weren't really characters.
They all have nice little character moments though. I looked it up. I don't think they are actual characters from the comics.
Sammy was the con artist. He got people in. He played the chauffeur. Like he's the talker.
He was cool. They all had agency in the action scenes. That was something I really liked.
Did the sharpshooter actually shoot anything?
No.
Actually, I don't think so.
He might have like some sort of PTSD.
Yeah,
that actually doesn't allow him to do that.
They brought that up.
He was usually like a telescoper. Like he made sure he was the long view.
Yeah, he was just scout. Yeah.
Although I did see him shooting at least once. I don't know if he hit it.
But I mean, like he never actually did any sharpshooting. Like he was claimed to be the best sharpshooter that they know, and it's
we're only told not.
We didn't. We were never shown it.
I did kind of like that because one thing I guess not concerned about, but like this was something that as I was watching it, I was comparing it to the first Avenger. Because they have the Howling Commandos in that, and I like the Howling Commandos because
I wish I knew more.
I know them from the comics, and I remember when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, cool! I recognize that dude and that dude. I know Dum Dum Dugan. I know all these dudes. That's cool." But then they don't really do much. They're just sort of there. Whereas with this one, the cast it's much smaller. It's not counting. You have Diana, you have Steve, and then you have these 3 dudes. But they all have something to do. They all have a little character moment. They all have different personalities and skill sets.
Yes, I disagree that they were just tools.
And like, even though they weren't like, they could have very easily made it like we have the Chief is here to foreshadow. Maybe we're doing Apache Chief and Justice League. Ooh, like they could have made it like a cheap here's a thing from the comics. That excuses it, but like no, these are all original dudes that all had their quirks and their personality bits, and they all did something cool, and they all helped. Like the No Man's Land sequence I really liked because it wasn't just Wonder Woman jumps out of the trench and beats everybody.
You're right.
It was Wonder Woman gets out, tanks all the damage, and then the soldiers come in and provide cover.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's working together, and that to me is way cooler and more original than just the superhero punched a bunch of bad guys.
It's super unrealistic. The whole movie, like all the bullets hit her too little. Like
she moves in the way.
She's that fast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What I thought was the stupid part was when she had her shield. And it was like, man, one of those bullets had to hit like that. The one part of your leg that isn't covered.
Well, she's got shin guards.
Yeah,
only up to here.
Magical shin guards.
Only up to here.
She's also the guy.
She's showing a lot of legs.
She's probably bulletproof.
The bullet spread is probably really wide.
The
fact that they were actually hitting the shield, amazing.
You see that, boys?
But anyway, how did you guys feel about the characters, the part of the team, so to speak? The side characters.
Yeah. I'm just really disappointed in not seeing the sharpshooter have a moment, like where he actually accomplished something incredible. Like the Middle Eastern guy, he talked his way into the gala, and Chief did
made
Chief
smoke
things.
signal.
Made I have no idea. I think we're approaching a line with that, and I don't know if that's like I don't know. It just.
But did they address it? Like some people lose their talent. They said something about that.
Yeah, they did say like some people. No, not everyone can like perform or something. Like not everyone can like.
It was another dick joke.
You know what would have been? You know what would have been neat is if they had the sharpshooter have a little moment, but that moment isn't like murdering a dude. If it was something like
in a sense that could be just his singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
No, if he was like
the heart.
Well, okay. You know what?
Vince,
that is a little moment. Sharpshooter gets a little moment where he raises everyone's spirits.
He's actually singing again.
It could have been neat if they were like we need to stop, thing, and he like shoots a tire out or a winch or something. And It's like, he helped save the day without killing anyone.
Right.
He's like the Irish morale guy.
Yeah,
He's just
Scottish.
Like, wow. Oh, Scottish.
Don't get them confused.
Sorry for that one.
I think ultimately, I don't know if you guys will agree with me or not. I think I kind of agree with Jan that they were kind of just tools in some ways, but also you guys are right in that they did something that a lot of other films don't do, and that they gave them those character moments and at least something to do. It wasn't just like, yeah, go do that, and they do it off screen. We actually see them and they have their own moments, which is important.
I really wish we saw. Well, me personally, I really wish I saw like the Howling Commandos do something in the Avengers.
That was in Captain America.
Yeah,
Captain
America. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I agree.
I thought
We
they were
didn't
like a
like-
badass.
They weren't even able to
I don't remember them at all.
individualize them. So
Yeah.
they were just a group.
Who
in
were
my
they?
mind.
Yeah, like
They were not
a few
individuals.
stills. I think
Yeah.
I still remember. It was like
He had a
there were
crew.
still shots.
There really wasn't
no
much.
memory of
But like they
wasn't
didn't
much.
individualize them. I think in
Huh.
this movie, I think the reason why they
Not-
went with like this
not one man
multicultural crew
Right.
was to create identities and like be able to identify clearly like, oh, this is this guy, this
Yeah.
is this guy, this is this guy.
You might not know
we
their
can
names.
tell. Yeah, we can tell because they're all different races. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, were they in like the Agents of Shield? Was it?
No.
Whatever Peggy was in
No.
that show. No,
Peggy.
they weren't.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that was Marvel.
All right, so no, he's talking about the Howling
No, he's talking
Commandos.
about-
Oh, the Howling Command. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. Yeah.
That show.
Anyway, moving on. How did you guys feel about?
Well, I know
Go
we're
ahead.
moving away from the beach scene, and I wanted to say that I really enjoyed I didn't know how they were gonna do bow and arrow versus like World War One era, but it was really, I thought it was really cool, and it wasn't one-sided, which was also surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't know, maybe it was like, oh, Amazons are perfect and they're gonna kill everyone, or oh, Amazons are outmatched, but really it was pretty even.
It's pretty even.
And I enjoyed it.
I did
there was
think
one thing
it was like there was just
in particular,
more-
like I didn't, because I wasn't sure if they were familiar with gun fighting people with guns or not, but and I thought this made me think so. There was one moment where an Amazon used either it was a spear or just some sort of pole arm to kick up sand to ruin everyone's aim.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that was calculated or she just made it up on the fly, but that was like, that got me hyped. Like, oh shit, they know what they're doing.
There's some really cool
Yes.
horse arts. And
Yeah.
just, like people dangling off horses
Agreed.
and shooting arrows and
Agreed.
stuff.
Yeah. What? Go.
Robin Wright had that one awesome bit where they boost her up on the shield. She
Yeah.
knocks 3 arrows.
Shield!
She doesn't even spin around. She jumps backwards so that the shot is already lined up. Like she uses some peak
and
shit.
then the callback they do later in the movie.
Shield!
Yeah.
That's
No,
pretty dope. Yeah.
it was cool. I was worried that they were going to do the thing where it's like, the Amazons don't use guns and technology. They're more pure and thus will always win. No,
they were just
lots of Amazons get fucking shot and die.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
weren't
and then
ready.
they come in and wreck these dudes, but no, they're totally vulnerable.
Well,
I mean, they wrecked them because there were more of them. That was simply it. Like there was just more of them.
The only other thing that I thought was stupid about that scene, other like because for the most part it was really cool, was when the cavalry started coming in. And for some reason the soldiers started running at them. It was like, bro, on some of those guns you didn't have bayonets. It doesn't make any sense. Just sit there stationary and aim.
This was World War One. People didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
The horses were still around, yeah.
All they knew is that Franz Ferdinand was dead.
We like that guy.
Actually, that's actually a good segue into because I was gonna go into the villains, so to speak. Unless you guys still want to talk about any of the other characters.
Well, characters.
Just that. I was gonna say that beach scene is just another representation of World War One.
Yeah.
I also shout out to the secretary because I thought she was.
Oh
cute.
yeah, she was a cool character.
She was okay.
I like how she was a foil for like the feminist ideas of that time, where it was just kind of like she's a secretary, she's subservient. You gotta have that corset, gotta get in your gut, you know.
No,
I really enjoyed that contrast.
But she's also like, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't.
Yeah, and she's also like, oh, I like the spirit in this one. Yeah.
I thought every time she spoke, there was awkward silence in the theater. Like I didn't like her character at all.
Really?
No.
I mean, I was silent because I was watching.
Damn, Austin.
Damn, son. Small little shout out to the costume design.
Costume design was really
I loved Wonder Woman's like costume design in the 20s. I was just
Oh,
like blown away.
yes.
Cool.
Yes, agreed.
Everything in this movie about her, it's like you get some costume designs where it's like, oh, that's a neat design. This one, you look at it and it's like, that's Wonder Woman. she's dressed as Diana Prince. That's Diana Prince.
Mhm.
You know, like it looks good.
Is that actually her name, even in the comics?
Yeah,
That's,
Diana Prince.
that's
She
either
uses-
her name or her alter ego.
The name that's
depending
given
on
to
her.
her.
Diana. She goes by
It came because
I
she
love-
was cut off from saying princess.
Mhm.
Like he cuts her off.
I don't
That's
know.
all
I don't know if
that
that's the
happens.
actual origin, but in the comics, she's often referred to as Diana Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how they give that little homage to like the glasses. The typical like
Yeah.
superhero glasses is like, if I put these glasses on, you won't recognize me.
Oh yeah, he did make that joke. You're right. Yeah.
The what's it called everything. I think all the period piece parts of this film. I think it's all very very well done. The World War I setting, the weapons and the costume as well as the set design. I think for the most part, everything is really really well done in that aspect.
And there's not a whole lot of movies that focus on World War One, at least compared to World War Two. So
Yeah,
I think it
it's
does
true.
a good job of establishing like
It was
its
a good
own kind
choice.
of unique look.
It's also good. Obviously, the other things too. If they do it in World War II, then it's like, oh well, I guess we're just doing Captain America again.
Yeah.
It's good that they did the World War
There,
One.
there was no shot in this movie where you expect to just see like Captain America run by with the Howling Commandos. Like it looks, it is the 20. Well,
earlier,
World War
earlier,
One.
earlier.
20,
Yeah.
yeah.
The teens.
yeah, it was the teens.
Yeah.
You know, completely different decade than the 40s, and it looks it, and I like that.
Right.
It's
So
visually distinct.
yeah, going along with the World War I setting, and I believe Austin, you mentioned this before, Wenham and Jake, how using World War I as a setting and using Ares as that
Yes.
character, it makes a lot of sense because no one knew what the hell was going on in World War I. It wasn't like World War II where it was just this great campaign, to rid the world of tyranny. The world was united in this one cause. Whereas World War I, it was just like.
It's messy.
That guy?
For
Oh,
Austria.
Listen, man, I just don't like you, okay? You know.
I was like, I don't like you either.
Get in on this.
Yeah, and I think that's really good for Ares in terms of talking about how the corruption of men and how they did it themselves. I just gave, planted like this little idea in their heads. They're the ones that are going to war themselves, blah, blah, blah. But how did you guys feel about, was it Dr. Poison, the General, and as we find out later, Remus Lupin?
Remus Lupin. I'm glad you said
I didn't know that was him until the
I
very
thought
end.
he looked so familiar.
I kept on saying, look, it's Lupin!
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me see.
I kind of like the Dr. Poison.
I like Dr. Poison.
I was
a
fine with
lot.
her.
She didn't
She was
do
cool.
much, but she was
Yeah,
cool.
there's like this chemist making this
Yeah.
weird shit. Because that's World War I shit. Like, that's the most sinister
yeah.
weapon that you can make is
Yeah.
like gas,
Yeah,
I
like
was really confused.
I loved her look, like with the old creepy facial.
Oh yeah, that was really
prosthetics.
cool.
Yeah, it was
And
really
I
good.
loved her whole deal and how she just really loved making awful shit in her lab.
Mm.
And I also really liked the little scene at the gala where Steve Trevor's trying to be like a honeypot, like he's trying to seduce her a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine.
And you can you get a little bit of vulnerability with her because you can see that she feels kind of self-conscious about the
Agreed.
prosthesis,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Oh my god, this gorgeous dude
Yeah,
is really into my work."
Mm.
Wow, like you get she has more characterization than you would expect for a side villain, and I like that. I like that a lot.
I have a question
Yes.
about her. That book she was using, was that magical in origin?
Don't
Yeah.
think so.
I don't know.
It was written in
No.
ancient Sumerian.
Yeah.
But she might have just
I
been,
think she just wrote it in.
Yeah.
Does she know
He
ancient
said-
Sumerian?
Ares says he was
Is that a
like
thing
whispering in
people
her
know?
ear and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it
maybe.
was probably that, Ares whispered in her
It's a little
ear
bit of
and then-
foreshadowing.
Ancient Sumerian.
And then she wrote it down in ancient Sumerian. She's like,
Oh.
oh, okay, like this is how I'm thinking now.
Ares floated by and was like, "You should code this so that no one can read it." And she
Here's
was
the
like, "I
code.
should code this so no one can read it." And
I didn't think of
See,
Okay.
I thought she was like an Amazonian. I thought
Yeah.
she was like a
Yeah.
secret
I
like
thought, yeah.
Amazonian.
Oh,
Who's, like
really?
some dejected Amazonian who's just like,
They don't kill her at the end, right? Like she.
No.
No,
Yeah,
she
no.
left. Yeah,
he
she
goes
lives.
to presumably die of old age in court-martial.
Oh, that's what happens. Okay.
Well, we don't know.
I mean, I
Oh,
assume
no,
it
we
was,
don't know.
it was the, it was the
So she could come
1910s.
back.
She could.
Well,
will.
it'd be crazy if she did because
She comes back as like a 115-year-old skeleton. in a
Oh, she's just all
hospital bed.
ceramic now.
yeah.
She's just was in a mech made of facial prosthesis.
Ooh, that's a, she did like I was just thinking like she did look like a puppet and she was a puppet.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
That's a good point, Jim.
I will say that the magic cocaine that the general was using, he made some funny faces. That were like, that was part of the cheese of this movie. It was just like the way he was like, like it was really, even for me, it was hard not to.
I could have done without that. That
I
was
think
stupid.
Ludendorff was a real dude.
Yeah,
Fringe.
I know that, but like
Oh.
what what cocaine was he like?
There was no reason.
It wasn't cocaine. It was gas.
It was a gas.
It was like
that was
I know,
gas
but
that
like
made
if he was
his
just a
face
regular,
swell.
if he was a regular ass dude.
Yo, yeah,
like,
that's what I was gonna say.
What the
Who is
fuck
this
was
dude
he
that like?
smoking?
And he just gets like super strength.
Honestly, it felt like it was trying to help sell the idea that the general was Ares, because she's like,
Yeah.
this
Oh,
will
yeah,
help
totally
get your
was.
strength back. And
Yeah.
so later on, I was
And
like,
Ares
oh, okay.
said to her like, "This is what you were created for."
I was
as
like,
if,
oh, if the general
Yeah, it was really
is
laying
Ares,
on hard that he was Ares.
They,
That whole
they
conversation.
try really hard to make you believe that the general is.
They do.
secretly
Looking back, yeah.
Ares.
Did anyone actually fall for that?
No, but
Yeah.
that's
I
what
was
thought.
worried they were gonna do it, but I just didn't know.
I think that was the well. For some people might fall for it, and then the other
Some
people,
would
more
be really
seasoned
stupid.
people would not fall for it and be like, oh, maybe it's Dr. Poison then, because she's giving all these these technologies to man and setting
Poison
them up.
was my next guess. Although I did suspect.
I was the doctor, and then it was. I mean, it was the general.
You
then
know
it was
nothing
the
of the
point.
gods.
Doctor.
Okay,
I think that
I
was
was just like.
It's
all right.
so like tamping it in with a wooden
We're like,
mallet.
okay,
like,
it can't be you.
The plot twist was.
guys, he's definitely Ares. He talked about the gods out of nowhere.
He's a very-
It's like
Did anybody
Come on, man.
call that it was like mustachio?
No,
I didn't. That came out
You
of it.
called it?
I didn't. I wasn't definite, but he would have was my next guess.
And I
It
did.
would make
guess
sense. Like
Remus
if you gave
from
me,
the
if you
beginning.
paused
Because
the
he was
movie
so-
and asked me like, oh, who's the real villain? I would tell you it's definitely not the general.
No.
It could be Puppet Lady, and then I would look back to all the other characters.
The way he
and
stared
it's
at her
either
when he
the
walked in.
secretary, which is unlikely.
Oh, that was that would have been great.
Yeah, right. The secretary. It wouldn't make sense. But then if you pause the movie and analyze, I mean, I guess like there is no lead on whoever the guy is, mustache guy.
Yeah.
There is no lead on him being it because they easily cool his trail by being like, oh, I'm gonna fund your trips to
See,
kill
that
Ares.
that was a red
about
flag
peace.
for me because
Yeah.
he was so helpful, but then he didn't want the armistice to end. When they called, he's like, because he was waiting for them to call, and the secretary
that's the
answered. And he's
tell.
like, no, I forbid you now,
Yeah.
even though I financed your journey to get there.
I mean, I suspected from the beginning because like I was like, what is he? Is he just gonna help? There's no way that he's just like this random supporting character that's like, here's the money, go do it.
gotta
Like,
come
I mean,
back.
there has to be.
I mean,
reason
like,
why he's introduced.
That, but like I feel like they did cool his trail by like having him fund their trip because it's why else would he do it? But then you later on find out it's because he wanted Wonder Woman to see the evils of mankind
Right, yeah.
and sway her to his side, but that didn't work.
I would think like
He didn't know Steve was on her side. Like,
yeah, I mean, I thought he was like the most inconsistent out of the whole movie.
Ares?
who? Ares?
Mustache Man, yeah.
Yeah, mustache.
Inconsistent how?
Inconsistent as a characterization, because like a small detail in the movie was like he was limping on a cane.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
And the next thing you know, he's like a fucking god.
I mean, that's part of the. He's old. He's supposed to act old.
Well, that's
He's
the
supposed
thing.
to act old. I thought.
Well, no,
like, he was
he's
pretty young.
undercover.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna be like, I'm old, but
I'm a
I
Greek
have a
god."
body of a 20-year-old. You know what I mean?
I mean, he could have like I don't know. I just thought he was just inconsistent.
I feel like the inconsistency was okay. Let's talk about this armistice deal when they first like introduce him in a sense where they walk into that meeting and he's talking about the armistice deal, and then later on he hears about the weapon, and then he totally flips sides and is like, you know what? Stop the weapon. Go do what you need to do, and then he finds out what's happening. Don't do what you need to do. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole like. I feel like that's more like flip flop.
And then you could even like taste the hint of like sarcasm, and
When?
like that phone call. The
Oh.
phone call between he's like, "Oh no, don't stop yourself, you'll ruin the armistice." Blah blah blah.
Oh.
You know that phone call?
Right. I remember the phone
I
call.
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I know the
I
phone
don't-
call.
I don't
didn't
remember
get
sarcasm, though.
I thought there was a hint of sarcasm in that. I was just
He was hoping that he would not.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
because like he was just like he's not gonna stop, is he? He was just
Yeah,
like
that's probably a good point.
I'd like to say I wish that they didn't actually have like a physical Ares character, and that they just left it like Diana's like chasing after this god, and it's like no, it's just people. It's just people. It's evil. That's like just people can be good, and like 'cause that's what Steve
Right.
was saying. Like people can be good, people can be bad. Like that's just
Right.
sometimes how it works, and she
Right.
like
That
realized
was actually
that.
such a good scene. Like when
Yeah.
she killed it,
Yeah.
her perceived Ares. He's like, I don't understand. How
That's
does that work? And then she was like,
yeah.
yeah.
What else we gonna
You know
do?
what I don't get is how come what's her name? How come Wonder Woman just suddenly goes with Steve as opposed to the Germans? You know what I mean?
You mean off the island?
No, like he saves her life, sure, and like that's a reason to like trust him. But what makes him the good side? Like she knows nothing of this war, but she just goes along with him.
I think it's just she knows she's going off of what she knows. He fought against the people that killed her aunt.
True.
Yeah.
Also,
and help save her.
I always thought that Steve was like from the beginning. He's a spy. He's a liar, and he's good at manipulating people. And Diana.
He's Aries.
I
thought he was Aries.
I thought it could have been, but I knew like from the beginning it was interesting how he was like really. I thought it was like pretty obvious that he was like manipulating her. Like, okay, yeah, take me off the island. Come on, let's go.
I'll take you to Aries.
Yeah, come on, let's do it.
Yeah, I'll take you to the front.
Yeah.
And then he slowly.
It's like, okay, she could deflect bullets. Maybe there's something to this.
Maybe we should. That's your acknowledgement of the of that she's like a
yeah.
I guess.
Honestly, I was fully expecting like I knew Ares had to show up because of course we have to have a big stupid like
that
doomsday
DC
fight.
ending like of just like lots.
We don't need that. We don't need that.
That's a Marvel ending too.
You know.
But I feel like it looked very similar to the Batman v Superman.
DC films that seem to be usually just big one-on-one fights.
Huge
kind of just
CGI
like
fights
DBZ.
with like lots of special lights.
The Marvel fights are usually something in the sky and with an army. That's usually the
like
Marvel.
A bunch of CG drones.
Yeah, that's usually the Marvel end.
Like I didn't expect. Like I didn't expect them to do a whole like who's Ares like a mystery game kind of thing. I was totally expecting her to just get to the airfield and like they try and stop the gas, and then the sky just opens and fucking Ares just falls out and starts fighting her. Like I totally wasn't expecting it to be like I was Ares all along. It's like, dude, it's Ares. Doesn't he have better things to do than pretend to be a British guy for how many years?
I was really hoping for like that kind of Injustice kind of fight scene kind of feel.
Like what?
Like Injustice has like this kind of feel to it with the fights. Yeah, where it's just like up close,
yeah,
really personal.
Agreed. That
like,
might have been more fun than like flinging each other around.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, talking about the fight, sometimes it seemed like Diana's punches were really wimpy. Like she was like knocking dudes out, but the sound was just like
so bad.
I can understand.
That's what I heard.
In my opinion, like what I hated the most about the movie was the poses. Like punching poses.
It was part of the chase. Like they gave her a lot of superhero shots, and it was kind of like
the shield blocking the bullets.
That was a good one.
I like that one.
I'm like that. There's a lot, but like what I'm saying is like I think they like threw them all out there, seeing which would catch. You know,
like you can do the superhero pose thing well, and they have some good shots in this one. Like when she's going, going up against the howitzer with the shield. But then you get some other ones, like the shot that this ends on, where it's like, it's all about the context, 'cause especially when you have a character that can't fly, where it's like they're gonna land in like 3 seconds and do like a boing, like do a little hop back into the air, and it's gonna look very silly, especially because she seems to be jumping to respond to nothing.
Yeah, what was she jumping? What was she jumping at?
I was expecting there to be like a building on fire or something, but she just seemed to feel like jumping around Paris, I guess.
I have another question before, then we should probably move on to the final act. Even though she was all about like she was the innocence being killed really got to her and stuff like that. If Ares was the one corrupting the minds of humanity, she seemed very willing to kill these soldiers who were just corrupted by Ares. Is that like a clash?
It's a war. I mean, they're warriors dying in combat. You can't do it.
I think when she raged and started killing all those Germans at the air base or at the weapons base. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about
anytime she
like in the romance?
Yeah.
Pretty sure she killed.
I think it's more like well, they're not. First of all, they're not innocents.
So she didn't.
The soldiers are not innocent, so she's not gonna weep about that.
So they were enslaving people.
They're shooting at you.
But it very seems like she's emotionally driven when it comes to fighting, because she didn't start fighting at the no man's land. She didn't start fighting until she heard about the enslaving of that.
I thought that scene was really good when she got to no man's or like the barrier and she was about to fight or the trenches, and like the woman was there. She's like, these people are dying, so we need to fight to help.
I've been here for a year.
My
foot's gone.
No.
Sorry.
Her character is interesting in a way that like she is so consistent with the whole like we need to do what's right. This is right, and I'm going to do it because it's right. And then at the very end, like that's when her character is actually challenged though. Like you would. like I feel like her character development was all in that last act where she was having that philosophical battle with Ares, and that was the only time she had character development. Other than that, it was all like, I'm gonna do what's right and you can't stop me. I'm gonna do what I think is right and you can't stop me.
Okay.
You know.
So am I wrong to say that it's a clash for her to be like very pro innocent and also killing these people corrupted by Ares?
I don't think so, because she's doing it for like very like noble reasons.
Yeah. And also she has an old school mentality of good versus evil. In her eyes, she's vanquishing evil. At least that's the way I see it.
No, it's a good point. Okay.
To free, I don't know, everybody from Ares.
Right. I have to kill.
Yeah.
Okay. Abhishek and have you guys have any other thoughts about the other characters that were before, like in the villains and anything like that? Evan too.
Not what has already been discussed. Mostly agree with what you guys said.
Likewise, I just really need caffeine.
I can give you some.
I'm alright.
The one thing that that I sort of noticed about the three the side characters, Steve's friends, if you will, is that in a way they reminded me of those three guys from Mulan.
Yeah,
that I'm talking about, because like they both were like really weird. Like they both brought something different to like they were both useful in different ways. They and they acted as like those guys, you know, the funny guys.
A lot of this movie reminded me of Mulan.
Really?
She defies her parents and steals their sword.
That's a good point. Yeah.
The war, it's better for people.
All she needed was a lucky cricket and Mushu.
She needed Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, who's Eddie Murphy? Where's Eddie Murphy at? No, literally, where is he at? Like, what's that guy been up to?
He's probably grieving the death of his brother.
Was that recent?
Yeah, Charlie Murphy.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Way to go, Jan.
Way to kill Eddie Murphy.
Whoa, shit. Just chill, dude, chill.
Yeah.
Are we going to move on to the third act?
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we go to the third act? Because the third act's going to take a while.
Nothing I can't say in my final
Where would you
thoughts.
begin the third act?
Yeah, where does it start?
After the gala, before the gala?
I mean, it
I would say
hasn't been stressed enough.
I would say like the gala is like the lead up to it, and then the battle at the base is the third act.
I just want to re-stress that No Man's Land scene was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if we covered that enough, but it was great.
I agree.
Also,
that is true. We didn't we kind of just kept passing.
The No Man's Land scene is fantastic.
Oh, it was awesome.
It's amazing.
So
that was my favorite scene of the movie.
Music was good. The action was good. The camera work was good. Could have done without the slow mo speed up shit, but other than that.
Could have done without the fact that she like almost made the entire fucking building crumble when she went to the top.
That was
like overkill.
That was pretty fucking funny. I expected her to like, she gets boosted up, she's gonna tackle the guy through the window. No, she just like flies into it and blows the whole thing.
I thought the building was gonna come down. I was like, well, like good job, girl. Like you destroyed the village church, you asshole.
Wonder Woman flying brick.
Like an angel.
Flying mortar, yeah.
As long as that bar is intact, it's okay.
It's alright. We gave up God a long time ago.
Okay, so how did you guys feel about the gala?
There's a bunch of them.
So we talked about the gala.
They're wrong.
And like
destroy the church.
We talked about the.
We got worship Zeus. We got worship Poseidon.
Yeah, she bringing it up. Oh shit, the rising generation is back. Oh shit.
Where's that golden cow?
Yeah.
That was the actual message in that scene. Was they were taking down the church. Like
it's time to worship Zeus again.
Zeus shows up. Which one of y'all bitches wants to be a tree?
Where is your Christian God now?
Yeah.
What's he done for me lately? Zeus sent me this.
Yeah.
It's like a very Jewish voice.
Yeah.
Where's this Christian God?
Where's this Christian God?
Wait. Jewish God. Say the word. Where's Yahweh at? Like,
Where's Yahweh at? Not here.
So the gala scene, like we talked about, the lead up to it going in was nice. We talked about the scene where Steve Trevor talks to Dr. Poison. That was really good. Does anyone else wonder how like she walked into the fucking gala with a sword in her back, and I was like, oh, she has a sword.
Okay. I saw this shot in the trailer, and I thought that it was the absolute stupidest goddamn thing ever. Because in the trailer, I thought that the setup was like, she's undercover. Mm-hmm. This was literally she put on a dress to get through the door and was just gonna stab this guy the second she saw him.
Yeah.
So for that much, this was a disguise that needed to work for maybe 2 minutes.
Not only that.
So I could.
She danced with him.
It was a little goofy, but it didn't make me.
I don't think the blade was shown that much.
It wasn't.
Yeah, you saw you saw like the hilt, and you saw some of the blade.
No, but people aren't gonna be like, she's got a sword.
That's a lovely brooch. I don't know.
She's got a sword in the back, obviously.
I mean,
I don't know.
She had to walk through the door and hope that nobody looked too closely at her back.
No. The thing is, when she did walk through the door, there was a woman to her right that looked at her back. Like,
I
noticed that immediately.
And
I was like,
something.
she's not gonna say anything. She's not gonna say anything.
And knowing a party like that, where it's supposedly this really really big thing, of course there should be There should be like guards and shit like that. Like,
in the heart of
we should
Germany?
make sure that our leaders aren't gonna
I
get
think
killed.
I think they were a bit distracted.
I feel like they'd be looking out for
She's a walking distraction. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's
Are swords still a thing in the military?
Ceremonial.
They've been phased out.
One at a time.
No, that's what I was gonna say. It was like a big military gala, so I could see it being like, oh, okay, she's got a thing on her. Well, yeah, he's got his ceremonial pistol and sword. You know,
She was checked for a gun. She didn't have one.
yeah, it was. You're gonna be if you're looking out for assassons, you're not gonna be expecting someone to come in with an ornate god killer sword. You know?
Also, she's a woman too.
Yeah, that's honestly probably another facet of it.
Like how
The
how
boy to
are
girl
you
ratio
not
was bad at the
distract-
parties.
Like going by historical accuracy is like even showing like your I feel like it was legs.
Okay.
I think legs was the next step because it was first ankle, and then legs was like the next sexiest thing way back when. So showing your shoulder.
Oh shit! So you know I mean cut you off. So the No Man's Land. Wonder Woman conquered the No Man's Land. A woman conquered No Man's Land.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one thing that was not in the movie, and I was so fucking thankful because I was waiting for this.
Wow.
Is when he's explaining what No Man's Land is. She's like, "We have to go help the people," and he's like, "It's No Man's Land. That means no man can cross it." I was pre-cringing. I was like, "I'm no man." It's good to know. I am no man. Jump in.
Mamma mia! What the hell?
Not Italian.
You guys are making yourself Italian. Yeah. I am no man.
And how you say it, signorina.
It's a good one.
Gets a whiff of sarin gas. Aye, that's a spicy meatball. But no, for real though, the low-hanging fruit was right in front of them.
You're right,
It was right there, and they didn't grab it, and I was so thankful for that because that is such a trite, done before, done everywhere line.
They just didn't have time because they spent so much time on the dick joke.
Yeah,
they would have added it.
That was the one time where they had so many cool things for her to say that they just had her say nothing, and she just went.
Back to the final act. So it started at the gala. Dances with General, who really hammers on that he's Hades. I mean Ares. Hades is alright. Yeah.
German general, how dare you insult Ares, the god of war? You know nothing of the gods. It's like, man, this is not a conversation normal people have.
Man, he landed all thick. Like, does he just say that to random people? Like, you don't know nothing about the Greek gods. Man, no one even said that.
If I was in Wendy's shoes, I'd probably say, like, well, of course that's Ares.
One woman's like,
kill me.
Only one of the gods thinks that way. The general's like, well, I think if Ares was in the room right now, he might disagree with you, young lady. And I also think Ares isn't impressed with that shade of blue. I mean, if Ares was in the room, not saying he is, but if he was.
We're talking about the dance, or what are we talking about here?
Don't you remember that scene?
Right. That scene where he's like, I'm definitely not Ares, but if I was,
Yeah.
I would say you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I'm not
Ares. And then he wasn't. Surprise.
All right. Let's get to this third act. So, Jan, I'll let you start.
I don't know.
So where are we?
Where does it start?
The third act is the attack on the base
screen.
Yeah, they get to the base.
Yeah,
the base.
They shoot the gas and she's like, no, and she runs.
The immediate tell that the general wasn't Ares was just the lack of like the anticlimax of her killing him.
Yeah.
Because like that fight was anticlimactic in my opinion.
I enjoyed the fight.
Oh, they fought in a little watchtower. Like
she was really.
The thing is,
I liked how close. I liked how close that was though. Like there was a bit where like she like flung him out a window and then like pulled him back in or something. There was a really cool move involving the window.
Yeah.
And I liked how cramped it was compared to the Ares fight, which was
Here's
a big open empty space and two CGI ragdolls are gonna bash into each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I haven't seen that.
I agree, it is different, but at the same time, it just didn't
was
have
a little-
enough weight.
For
it to be
a dude,
Yes, yeah.
for
Okay.
a dude who we are to assume is the main villain
that's
of the
fair.
movie, it did feel a little flaccid.
Yeah.
And then they went fully erect.
Yeah, two erect.
Two erect.
Yeah.
We have a problem.
Oh,
Erect.
call the hospital. It's a more than 2
It was way above average. Sorry about that.
There's no blood in my face.
Yeah.
Um,
that entire act kind of just.
That fucking fight was terrible.
It was
What did we think
Which
of
one?
Lupin's performance?
I thought he was really sinister at first as he was Ares because he's just walking around. He's like, you know.
Yeah. That reminded me
I
of
like-
something you would craft,
Yeah.
actually.
I liked all those shots where he would like disappear in the doorway and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
It reminded me of that one really amazing shot in Suicide Squad where the hand creeps out and flips over.
Yeah.
Wait, no, he didn't disappear. He was only in the reflections. He was.
I don't
he was
think so.
Really?
I don't think he was just in Reflections.
No,
No, he
He
was.
was-
He was.
Spooky
No, he was
Spectre
only in
flipping
reflections, and then when she's actually in the watchtower, then he appears behind her later.
Oh,
Like he's
maybe I missed that.
like remember she's like looking at him. She thinks he's inside the
Right.
watchtower.
Oh,
but
that
it's
was
just a
him in a
reflection
window.
in the window.
Oh, all right, that makes sense.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
I thought that
Like,
was
he just
like
disappears
him blinking
through the
around
window.
because he's
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
No, because like I paid very close attention to the reflection after she walks in the watchtower, and it is just him in the reflection.
Oh.
Yeah.
But going off of what Mark was saying, I think, or I think it was Jake. The beginning when you first introduced him and he's like doing like the disappearing shit, that was really cool. And I also loved the shot where she stabbed him and went through his hand, like the sword just disintegrated.
Yes.
That was such a good shot.
Yes.
Especially because I did totally expect like, oh, okay, the sword is the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't like hype it up or linger on it, it's just stab, it's gone. Like, oh no,
What did you do wrong? Yeah.
my weapon integrity is that low. It just shattered right when I got to the boss. Oh no.
Fucking gold sword.
That's something that would happen in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. And I liked how I'm glad that they put him in a proper like Ares looking suit of armor.
Yeah.
And I like that it was made out of shrapnel and like wreckage. I thought that was kind of
Right.
Yeah.
It was cheesy, but it was
Evan
kind of
disagrees.
It's not like that. I mean,
But I like
when they jumped into his exposition, I was like, I started like, oh my god, like, no, why? But like, they redeemed it with the philosophical battle, but at the same time, I was like, oh,
I liked that at the
bad taste in my mouth.
I liked that when their fight was in the "you're not so different, you and I" stages, that he was just a meager looking dude in a suit. I thought that was kind of neat.
I wouldn't like that if he was all armored up.
And then they turned him into a big
Yeah,
angry man.
it's just.
Why didn't you
the
like
movie
the armor?
goes
Jake?
downhill.
You had something to say?
You lose some
Yeah,
points.
I fucking hated the armor.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
yeah.
sucked.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not the only one. The armor, I didn't like it because, like, okay, from far away when he was in the flames, alright, cool, he kind of looks cool. But then when you saw the close-ups, it just looked like he was covered in fucking tinfoil.
Yeah.
Like, it just
Well,
did
that
not
kind of
look
was
good.
what it was.
I'll say this: I didn't like his armor. I like that they put him in armor.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that they put him in armor from the comics. I didn't like the fact that it was like these scraps that were like just put
Oh,
together.
I like that.
Like
I don't
thematically, I think it's cool.
What were they
but
gonna do? Was he gonna call his armor?
I wish that they did a thing where maybe like I like the idea of him making armor out of like modern for that time period like machinery, like taking like chunks of shrapnel and making it into his armor. I think that's thematically pretty cool. But I would have liked if he had maybe gathered up like a tank and then like melted down and then it turned into some magic looking Greek shit.
Oh yeah.
Rather than a
yeah,
big crinkly looking junkyard hunk of
That's
dust.
fair. The tank could be more epic.
I
feel like if he was in like
Oh, yeah, it'd be really
Spartan
cool,
armor, it would look way out of like. Then again, Wonder Woman's way out of.
I was disappointed that like I was expecting like, oh, okay, it's Ares in the form of this British dude. It's like, no, Ares is that British dude, curly mustache and everything.
I was hoping for like a different form.
I really like the Injustice design of Ares, where he's like a literally pitch black dude with glowing red eyes, so you can barely see his face when his helmet is on, so it looks really ominous and badass. But in this one, it's just Professor Lupin with a big curly 1910s mustache in a suit of Transformers armor, and it's
the dialogue was so bad. It was so like. You'll join me, or else you will die.
They were definitely bad villains. Agreed.
we're not so different, you and I. We could join together.
I will destroy you all.
join me together. We will bring peace to the galaxy. You know, it was all that.
I agree. Like that's that. I think the idea behind the dialogue is good, but it was done even so much better. Even in Spider-Man 1, remember when the Green Goblin like kidnapped him?
I have no problem with Spider-Man 1.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Spider-Man 1, it was done so much better.
Even Spider-Man 1.
Even in Spider-Man 1, it was done so much better. I'm saying.
Spider-Man 1's not a movie with a lot of good dialogue, but they did it way better than in this one. The whole villain speeches thing. Because like I liked Ares' motivation.
I
liked the fact that he was not so much active war as he was just empathy and entropy. Of like,
well, he was more like cleansing the earth of the plague that is humans.
He wasn't like, we need to have war. I want humans to be around for war because I'm Ares and I like war.
Instead, he was much more reserved, and it was just like, fuck it, man. Humans aren't worth saving. Look at what they do. Humans are pathetic.
Yeah, you're right.
And I like that motivation, but the fact that they took that motivation and turned it into dialogue, like join me and we can save this planet from.
That's a good point. Ares' whole thing was that humanity was imperfect, and he was showing how imperfect they were. Not necessarily I like to things go boom.
Doesn't that just make him Satan?
He's proving his brother wrong. Actually, I'm not sure if they're related.
It was a cool character relayed through some of the most trite, hackneyed dialogue.
Yeah, agreed.
You can
trash dialogue.
Because it was kind of an interesting updated Ares.
Yeah.
That he's not this guy coming around with like this big tank, smushing things, but he's like this puppet master, pulling the strings, making the wars happen.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, like you say that, and like what I really liked, probably the only part I really liked was like his manipulation of the lasso of truth, and he like showed Wonder Woman where it's just like this could be the truth. But it's not because it's not reality, but it could be the reality.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I could possibly make this true. So he was like manipulating the lasso of truth in itself, which is really interesting.
Interesting.
A lot of that last sequence was a lot of with spectacle. I'd say
too much.
It was just
it was
too
a
much.
CGI fest.
It was like when he explodes the watchtower with his electricity, he's just like boom, like a giant explosion. It's like, oh, that's just spectacle.
We have a lot of emotion.
I like that initial explosion.
I did because it was like, oh, we're starting off.
Shit,
we're starting off, and then he goes full god mode, controlling the weather and shit or whatever, the wind and
we have
full Avatar mode.
We get to the climax and there's a lot of character stuff going on. There's a lot of emotional stuff. And then it's just CGI buff people punching each other.
Right. And getting up again and then jumping at each other.
Every time it cut to Steve and the dudes running across the airstrip, just vulnerable dudes with guns, and him I have to sacrifice myself. I was so much more engaged in that than when it cut back to Ares, join me, and together we could do bad things.
I guess my question is all these superhero films are turning into these spectacles where it's just gods fighting each other. Like Guardians of the Galaxy had the same thing. It was two gods fighting each other, and
there was more. I feel like there was more emotional weight to it.
Yeah. Well, there was an.
It was a personal conflict.
Yeah, because that was the thing. The issue isn't so much that it's big and flashy. It's that it's big and flashy, but that's all it is.
Yeah.
You look at Star-Lord versus Ego.
Okay, because my follow-up question would have been how do we fix this what can filmmakers do to make to add the spectacle but have it be worth it?
Diana has no beef with Ares aside from the fact that he's
I was about to say, I think the first thing is you need to develop the villain. One of the best reasons why the Dark Knight trilogy worked with all those was they spend a substantial amount of screen time developing the villains, their motivations, and their relationship with the hero. There's a relationship that Batman and Joker have. There's a relationship that Batman and Ra's al Ghul have. There's a relationship that Batman and Bane have.
Yeah.
And you don't see that in most of the superhero films. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is why the conflicts just feel oh, well, I guess you're evil, so I guess they fight.
I was just about to argue, oh, well, they couldn't really develop Ares here because they were trying to hold him off for a reveal. Yeah. But they did develop Ra's al Ghul in the first Batman film by him being his mentor and unknowingly being Ra's al Ghul at the end. That was a really cool reveal. They did the reveal there, and we already had background for
Ares is a tough villain to build up. To build up a hero-villain relationship for, especially if you want to have a surprise reveal at the end.
Yeah.
I think it could have been the thing we mentioned about the Native American having a philosophical duel, Chief having a battle of philosophies with Wonder Woman, and then Ares mirroring those same arguments, that might be enough. For me.
I think what they should have gone for, instead of the let's just fight each other and like have another DBZ fight. I think they fight but have the philosophical debate about what exactly is going on here and challenging her beliefs and just like you're fighting for men that aren't good, blah blah blah. And even making and then maybe Ares has his side of the story where he was like, I wasn't like what I was in the story or something like that. Maybe adding some sort of backstory to make it more compelling and interesting. I think that could be done as well. Go ahead.
This is just an open question. Do you guys think the issues that with superhero films and having really weak villains, do you think it has anything to do with the medium of film itself? Because it seems like there's a lot of it's really hard to cram that much characterization, especially when you're focusing so much on the characterization of the main characters, which could explain why, at least from my perspective, why the Rogues Gallery in like a lot of the animated series, works so well, because they had enough time to really flesh out their relationship with the heroes and really flesh the characters out.
That's a good point.
I think the main problem is the fact that like we're so used to these tropes, like lawful good versus chaotic evil. We're like we grew up with this. We grew up with like someone who's totally evil and someone who's like
goody two shoes. That's the essence of superhero comics, is that there is lawful good versus chaotic evil, and I feel like we're just fatigued from that, and it's like just.
But there's a way to do it right.
Yeah. Like what I feel like what Wonder Woman.
But then like again like that's like, are we gonna call it a superhero movie?
I'm not sure.
Yes,
to be honest.
But I don't agree that the villain was done the greatest in Logan. Although I do love Logan. I still call it a hero.
Even if
I do not call it a superhero movie.
Even if you look at it,
Wolverine's not even a superhero. He's like the most gray area character.
Even if you look at a movie like Civil War, I thought the villain was great in that because
villain fantastic.
Yeah, because it was it was a personal conflict and he didn't punch his way. He manipulated the entire team.
That was cool.
And
he had his
I think it can be done.
Yes.
And going along with what Evan said, I agree that making villains is hard. But it can be done. If you look at some of the greatest ones of all time, Xenomorph, the Predator, even what's his name in Die Hard,
Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber. That's another great villain.
Well, we're talking in the sphere of superhero
I'll
films.
be back again someday.
I thought you were talking about general.
No, I was talking about just superhero films.
In superhero films, it has to be lawful good versus chaotic evil. That's just the characterization of superhero.
That's
Deadpool's not a superhero.
He's not a superhero?
No, he's an anti-hero.
It's a superhero film.
All right, but I still go to see it. It's a Marvel comic movie. It's a comic book movie.
Yeah, it's a comic book movie. But would you say Watchmen is a superhero movie?
I haven't seen Watchmen. No, go ahead. Probably not. No. No. Watchmen, no.
Watchmen revolves around the idea that it has a superhuman in it, though.
That does not. But there's plenty. Like remember.
Superhero movie.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
What I'm saying is,
Man was kind of.
Guys, one at a time.
Watchmen is not necessarily the same genre of film as the Avengers.
Yeah, because I would say that these movies are coming from a series of stories from the 1960s where he what?
Earlier than that.
Yeah, but this is like that's like the
this
golden
one
age.
had
Is it not?
52.
No, the golden age is the 40s.
Oh, sorry, the 1940s, where these characters were created and romanticized and idealized to be like, this is pure good. These guys are pure evil.
I see what
good
you're saying.
fights
That's all they
evil.
needed to do.
And so when the movies came in, they're like, you know what? Let's just translate that into film. But I feel like now people are like, we're tired of good versus evil. We're tired of the romantic like battle of good versus evil. We want to see gray.
See, that's like where I come from, where I'm just like the reason why I thought Superwoman was better than the past movies.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah, Wonder Woman. Sorry.
It's okay.
Anybody listening, it's just after 1 a.m. So.
The fact that like I liked it over the other movies was the fact that Wonder Woman was, in a sense, humanized, quote unquote, naive, I guess, from your standards. Whereas like that was the gray area that like kind of we all needed.
Speak up.
Yeah. So it was like that was like the gray area that we all needed. That like to me was like it was that nice balance. There wasn't so much of that struggle between like good and evil. It was just like trying to understand the essence of what is evil.
I agree. But you had to figure out
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I guess like the gray area was mankind, right?
Right.
It was like
it's supposed to be the commentary.
Because like he's like the the idea that they went with at the very end was mankind doesn't deserve Wonder Woman and her help. But it's what they believe. Yeah, whatever. Like, but it's what you believe, or what, I forget the line exactly. But she believed in mankind, and so she fought for mankind, and that's what they went with. But like, and I guess that's the gray area. But I like the fight itself, where it's just pure good versus pure evil, and
it was lackluster.
Yeah.
The final act turned around for me as soon as I guess she got that, but I guess as soon as Steve died and she got that super power up. But it's not that. No. Like I enjoyed her speech. I enjoyed her speech about like how humanity is all of the things that Ares said, but they're also so much more.
They're also more.
And I really enjoyed that because it's a theme that I've come across in a lot of books that I like. It's about everyone has evil in them, and everyone can be good and everyone can be bad. It's the choices that matter. And I really enjoyed her realization of that.
What's that thing that Sirius Black said? Like, we've all got both light and dark inside of us. It just depends on which side you choose to act on or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
Genji's with you.
Relax. No, he said Genji is with you. We're not doing all that. We're not doing through one. Alright, see, for me, the third act really didn't pick up, or for me, the best part of the third act was seeing Steve and like not seeing Steve, seeing Steve like when Wonder Woman was gonna help them, he was just like, all right, boys, we gotta do this. Like him just saying,
great.
Like it was him, his devotion to duty,
his
devotion to the mission,
That's true. I don't
and
wanna
knowing that
overshadow
she's gonna be fine, whatever. And him willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, seeing his team do everything. Like I said, I think he was the best part of the movie, honestly.
Wonder Woman was the best part for me. It was so cool to see her do her thing.
Yeah,
I have to
there
say.
were like parts of the movie where whenever Steve and Wonder Woman were going to diverge in plot, I was like, oh, but I know we're gonna follow Wonder Woman, but I wonder what Steve's gonna do.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to know. What
They
Steve
work
was
so
gonna
well
do.
together. It's like again going back to the No Man's Land fight. Seeing her like with a shield out and her spangly outfit tanking all of the howitzer damage, while he runs in with a shotgun just picking off single dudes.
Was great.
I was getting hyped. It's
like totally.
They're such a good team.
There's a great shot in I guess the Velt of the village of Velt. It reminded me of that Avenger shot where it like swoops around and everybody's doing their cool thing. There was a moment like that with Wendy and Steve. And they're doing, and he has his gun, and he's doing his thing. And 1D, no, not 1D. WN, WN.
I know what you tried to give her a pet name, but unfortunately, that's a boy band.
I feel like I've heard it before.
Oh, and JB was there, and so was Miley Cyrus, and
Back up. What's your point, though?
I like the shot. There was a cool Avengers shot. I don't know if it's been done before Avengers, but it was just like that sweeping superhero shot where it goes in a circle and everyone's doing a cool thing and you're watching it all go down. I loved it.
The Ultron one, you mean?
No, this was original Avengers. It was in the Battle of New York.
Oh,
Everybody was doing their thing against the aliens, and it was just in a circle, and you were watching.
Well, Captain America like shoots the beam.
Probably.
Like,
it's a group shot.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I loved it a lot. Though I will say that if Wonder Woman were alone in this movie and Steve was not a part of it, there would have been something missing. Steve did the character of Steve was really well done, and it was a great piece to this movie.
Yeah, kudos to Chris.
Chris Pine did great.
Yeah, Chris Pine.
He knocked it out of the park.
Chris Pine was the best thing about this movie.
Go ahead, Evan. Yeah, because you're fair.
Can we take it back to the final act of one aspect that I wanted to talk about?
Sure, go ahead.
I went through the entire movie and I was in the third act and I was like, man, we haven't seen a beam in the sky yet. I think we're off to a good track. And then Ares does his fucking thing. And I was like, all right, there it is. I was waiting for it. There it is. Okay, just get that out of the way. It's there. It exists. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And they didn't dwell on it. That was good.
Steve was essential to even like open up the movie because you know, if like the whole movie was just based on like her homeland.
Wonder Woman trying to find Ares.
Yeah, it was just like she's just aimlessly walking around this island trying to find Ares.
Walks into soldier fights. Yeah, it's just it would lack a human element that he really did bring.
I mean, his job was to teach her what it means to be human, and think that there's like just basically the conclusion she came to at the end.
She didn't know she was a god, mind you.
Yeah. But basically, like his role in this film was to teach her that humans are worth like it is worth to save humanity essentially, because otherwise you would have what the hell's going on in this corner?
I'll tell you later.
Otherwise, Wonder Woman would have been swayed by Ares, and that mankind doesn't deserve.
Yeah,
to live.
oh yeah, you're right. She totally would have.
So his entire Steve did a really good role in showing you know what, no, mankind,
the potential of
mankind deserves it, and because and if it wasn't for that personal connection she had,
World War I would have gone on forever.
yeah. This is true. This is a true story, guys. Just like Star Wars.
I mean, for me, honestly, the best part of the third act is not the Wonder Woman fight. It has nothing to do with Wonder Woman. It's when Steve is in the plane. And and you see him, and he's driving, and he's like looking back and almost like hesitating to shoot it because he knows he's just gonna die, and he's just like, and then it does it. It was so powerful.
It was a very human moment.
Yeah, and I like that scene because they took more time than they needed to, but it was good that they did. It was a good lingering shot. It was just him like we saw him, and you could like the amount of time they spent on it was just. Because there's no dialogue, you're just seeing him flying the plane and looking back, and you're feeling his thoughts the entire time, and you're growing empathy for this character, like trying to see what it's like to be in his shoes, and and then to see him blow himself up.
I really like I have to give you more credit, Adam, because in that scene I'm like, oh, Adam's probably thinking they're lingering too long, but really you enjoyed it, so I have to stop being a grump.
There are times where it's good to linger.
Right. I also pictured during the scene where she couldn't hear, another scene you loved. I'm like, oh, Adam's like, this is taking forever. I can't hear what he's saying. This is not shot well.
I like scenes where they show and don't tell.
Right. So I do apologize.
That's okay. It's okay. I still love it.
Yeah, if he had a whole monologue about what am I doing? This is a dumb move. If the entire time we just hear him saying why am I doing this? I'm gonna kill myself for mankind. I don't know.
What makes it even more powerful is that because the entire movie he's been confident. He's been going against orders. He's been doing things on his own because he thinks it's right. And finally you see a human moment for him where he's hesitating because he knows this is the end. This is it.
Yeah.
And. Even going into the plane, it's like, I gotta go. He left the girl. Man, he just hit a god the night before, and he was like, I gotta go. I gotta do this.
Potentially,
one thing I definitely appreciated there was some cheesy last minute kiss that just lasted.
No, because I mean,
I got a fucking job watching this. My watch. Bye.
There are a lot of people watching this movie, and they want to make sure Wonder Woman. This is a very important role in a social way, and romance is funny with that in mind. And I think they were largely successful. She wasn't doting, nor was she overly dominating. So it was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice medium.
She was not defined by the relationship.
It was a very a very balanced relationship, and I think that was another big important thing in that. They very easily could have gone way too far and made this she has to be strong so she can't feel feelings like love because love is weak. Love is what her whole character is about in this.
Yeah.
And it's she experiences happiness and sadness and, romance and none of it.
Ice cream.
Yeah, none of it affects. Ice cream. I love that.
That was great.
Babies.
Yeah. That was one of my favorites.
I love it.
He buys her an ice cream cone and she tastes ice cream for the first time. She goes, "This is so good." She turns to the guy, "You should be so proud."
Yeah, that was great.
It's this is so genuinely nice.
Wasn't that from that one Justice League, the animated movie where Wonder Woman?
Yes, Justice League War. I know what you're talking about.
She buys an ice cream.
She also bought ice cream.
Or something like that.
Except that part, she chops him.
This is horrible.
This is great. You deserve a commendation or something.
Another.
Yeah.
I'll have another.
It was actually that reminds me too. That scene was really cool too because they're getting on the boat to the train and you see all the troops leaving their wives. And stuff. I thought that was actually really cool too, to show the background of World War I.
Hey, see, because we're so used to seeing World War II and stuff, and it's World War II. It's there's maybe 5 different outfits. Here's the Nazis, here's the Allies.
Yeah.
These guys have different hats, but other than that, they all kind of look the same. This one, it's here's some dudes in turbans, here's some dudes from over here. Everybody looks different because World War I was such a massive clusterfuck.
Well, so was World War II. They the media just didn't show all of it. They only showed the popular parts.
That's true. Yeah,
World War II, we only see the last year of the war essentially.
World War
II gets boiled down to Allies versus Nazis.
And plus, a lot of times in the media,
Well, not that.
Go on.
And plus, like a lot of times in the media with World War II, they only focus on the Western Front. They only focus on Europe. A lot of times they don't want to talk about what happens in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother
well,
war.
HBO made a whole series. Let's.
Oh yeah.
I gotta check that out.
It's just the overwhelming majority are the Western Front.
True. No, they only focus on the American portion, but we are America. So
well, I mean, again, which
it'd be weird if like they would.
Both was an African front. Okay,
I'm pretty sure both.
Okay,
technically, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean the European theater was just the focus because that's culture. Well, that's our Western culture. So.
Because that's when we really entered the war in Europe was when we did D-Day. Because before that, we didn't really do too much in terms of actual fighting.
It's the same thing for like World War I, where it's like we send out support. For the most part, it was just supplies, and then it wasn't until we're like, hey, we should help out England.
It's hard to get involved in a war where your land isn't like
near
invaded or being like
the whole oceans away.
Plus, like we were focusing so much on like because we were in the war, we were just in the Pacific.
Yeah, we were already.
we didn't reach Europe until like later on.
Yeah, that's true. This is true.
But anyway, going again with the third act. I thought it was cool how like Ares brought out Dr. Poison as sort of an example. I thought that was
an example. Pulled her out the side.
Yeah,
so
like
here's
yanked her car out.
I see. Yes.
I was like, here's your doctor.
Oh yeah, that's
Where'd
right.
she
Yeah.
come from?
Yeah,
I thought she was on a plane.
She's like, what the hell is happening?
He's still here. Like,
isn't that British guy?
Shouldn't you have left by now? Like, clearly everything's gone to shit. Like,
it's like, oh, so
you just killed a bunch of brainwashed soldiers in blind rage. Your final test is if you can kill this admitted sociopath.
well, were they brainwashed?
I think so, because after she killed him, they all got up and they were like,
yes,
that's really nice.
That is what they implied.
They all shared a Coca-Cola.
But like the way he talked about them was that Pepsi. The way they talked about, or the way Ares talked about mankind was that he never brainwashed them. Is that he just suggested to them,
right?
Yeah. So like, was he lying? Well, I mean, he can lie. I'm sure he can.
The way I thought about it was like he never told them to come under his control. He just gave them like some sort of temptation, and once they committed to it, they kind of fell under his control. That's kind of how I saw it. I mean, that's again inference instead of the movie telling you what's going on.
Once you walk down the path of evil, forever shall it dominate your destiny. That kind of thing.
Maybe they were just like relieved to have this whole fucking catastrophe be over.
Yeah, survive the giant god explosion.
Yeah,
they had no idea what it was.
Like, they were just like, fuck, I don't want to fight no more. Please.
Do you guys have any other thoughts about the third act?
I fucking hate that fight scene where like once she releases her god powers, right? They go into this weird, awkward, like slow-mo speed shot where she's just training, beating up like the Germans.
That was an awkward shot.
And I was just like, this can definitely be choreoed so much better.
She was
like,
moving really fast, but her legs were moving in slow motion. So it just sort of looked like someone like clicked on a gif of her and was dragging her on the screen.
No, yeah. That's weird. That was weird. Like she was moving in space, but her body wasn't.
Yeah. It was odd.
I was like, this could have been a badass scene.
The choreography
it could have been a badass scene.
But it wasn't. I'm so tired of DBZ fights. We're just like, we're gonna punch each
totally
other,
agree.
and I'm gonna throw some stuff at you. What was Ares' powers? It was just like, oh, I have fire, and I have lightning, and I have telepathy.
A generic god.
Yeah, it's
DC needs to learn not to do spectacle.
It reminds. Remember, Mark, the conclusion of
it,
X-Men
so
Apocalypse.
I never had an issue. I never felt like it was like
stands in the middle of the field and gets bombarded with beams.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I get you. Because
Right.
like at least in the Guardians of the Galaxy fight, it was like they were using the planet to fight each
it was
other,
a whole
which
thing,
was like really cool. In this one, it is literally just
everybody had a thing they were
fist,
doing, like because
God,
you can only contribute so much against a giant cave. But with this, it's always like I'm gonna rush, and then we hit, and someone goes all the way over here. Better get up. I'm gonna jump back in.
Yeah, and it's never like the problem is too. Wonder Woman's supposed to be like this really really highly trained, skilled warrior,
Right.
and all she's doing is she's gonna punch you, and then I'm gonna punch you again. It's like. Show me the martial arts. Show me like that you actually know how to fight instead of just haymakers. You know?
And they did it too.
I mean,
that's what's so frustrating is that they showed that she's a highly skilled warrior. She knows how to use the various different weapons.
And they had good fight scenes in the beginning too.
It's so frustrating. It just devolves into
because it's like we want to show these two characters have godly powers, but we're not creative enough to come up with ways to show that that's not punching each other back and forth. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it comes down to.
You can do that with just like
Like
Close combat sword fights.
in Guardians of the Galaxy, like we're gonna show these two are gods by having them terraform this planet to whatever they need to do with it. Yeah, which was really really cool.
Yeah, that could have easily been a mess, but I don't think it was. That whole ending scene, that whole ending fight scene in Guardians 2.
Yeah,
because that's an example of a god. You know, like I better fight the god, but it's not
two
just
gods
giant
fighting each other.
The Guardians 2 I was fine.
Yeah,
which is interesting because it's just two gods fighting each other. Just one did it way better.
But the thing is, that was only the latter part. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that leads up to that. So there's the part.
And Chris Pratt's not technically like doing like godly things. And
then it became the team versus the god, and then Chris Pratt kind of awakened. There's a whole bunch of layers to that fight.
And Fleetwood Mac playing.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, I was about to bring that up because I'm not sure if it's Fleetwood Mac, but basically. I've noticed with the last 2 superhero movies that I've watched, I've clung onto one specific thing that I really liked. So for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I really loved the father-son dynamic and how they pulled that off. I thought that was the best part of that movie.
Between Yondu and
Chris Pratt, and how they had that send-off.
Oh, that was great.
I can literally talk for hours about how amazing Guardians 2.
This is Wonder Woman. This is Wonder Woman.
Oh, we never talked about Guardians, did we?
No, we did not.
Do we wanna?
This is the Wonder Woman podcast.
This is already really long.
I want to talk about this one longer.
Remember when I said 2 o'clock?
I know you're not far off.
And then, but with this film, I'm finding myself clinging.
It was like 10 o'clock. Yep.
I'm finding myself clinging to Steve Trevor and his story and his scene specifically in the third act of saying goodbye to her, and then in the plane. Yeah. That was, that to me, watching the movie alone was worth for that.
Really,
for those scenes because they were so powerful and they were so well done.
You should have left it alone at that, and then she awakened her powers.
That would have been, I kind of like her not knowing what he said. That would have been really powerful.
Oh my gosh, that would have been great.
I needed the.
I think take this. All she should have heard was, "I wish we had more time." I think if they just had that line alone, then I think it would have been okay.
I still wanted them to acknowledge the fact that she couldn't go.
That's how I feel.
Oh no! I think it would have been fine if it was as you said in the beginning, where
you're right.
They need to acknowledge the fact that why can't she take care of the plane?
Yeah, I think it was.
She can't die from that explosion.
Yeah, I think what they did in the film was good in terms of what's it called? Where hey, how are you? Okay, you're good. Listen, I have to go. Blah blah. And it's like, well, I can just do it. Don't worry. And it's like, no. Listen, I have to do this because I can save today. You can save the world or something, or you can save tomorrow. Whatever the fuck line they want to use. I think after that, and that's when you start hearing the rotors. And then keeps on interrupting until you hear him give the watch, and as he's walking away, I wish we had more time, literally as holding the hand slipping out and then going. I think that's that's the perfect scene to me. Does anyone else have any other thoughts about the film or the third act that they want to touch on before we go into final thoughts?
Final thoughts is fine with me.
How about how the villain died? I thought it was kind of disappointing. Did she just absorb
Yeah.
She
just
absorbed the lightning and then
a giant fucking capacitor discharge.
Yeah, it was like a lightning rod.
Yeah, she did that with Doomsday. So I thought that was her learning that she could do that.
Ah, interesting.
I don't know. Does it stay in there, or is it kind of bam, or is she gonna
is it an energy battery?
I mean, her thing is that she deflects bullets back at people. So I guess this is just an extension of that.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
She just has reflective braces.
Yeah, all things. Okay. Cool.
I mean, conductive reflective braces.
So other things, just to rapidly go through the other aspects of the film because we're really over where this is a very long review. I thought the score was great.
Score was very good.
Score was great. I thought, and I thought the cinematography for the most part was really, really well done.
Yep. There's some very nice shots of Themyscira.
Yeah, some great shots.
That water
that we've talked about too. The only other gripe I had, I don't know if you saw it, Mark. Some of the CG in this was terrible.
Some of the CG in this was inexcusable.
It was god awful.
There are moments when they hide it pretty decently. Again, the No Man's Land sequence.
Yeah.
There are bits where she does, lasso katas and shit like that, where it's that's obviously CGI. I highly doubt Gal Gadot just jumped 10 feet in the air, did a bicycle kick, and whipped.
How do you know?
It's that's clear. They clearly enhanced this with CGI.
And that's okay.
But it's not glaring. I'm not looking at this going, oh, that's a CGI effect.
Yeah.
I know that's a CGI effect because I assume that the actor wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
I thought it was cheesy as fuck.
It was cheesy as Austin said, but some of the explosions were.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Pretty much like all of the bad CG is pretty much confined to the last like 30 minutes of this movie.
Either that
Boy,
or
does
like
it get
the lasso CG was just bad. It was lazy to me because like to me, I saw it was easily like that lasso scene with the tank in the town, right? The lasso was easily just drawn in pen. And you could actually trail it.
The first time we see
animated it.
The first time we see the lasso, I was like, "This looks awful." And then every time I saw it, I was like, "They didn't fix it ever." It's just awful the entire movie.
Honestly, I liked it because the lasso's stupid. It's really dumb, and the fact that they didn't change that makes me very happy.
It looks so out of place when they used it in this film. Like every time it wrapped around someone, it looked so out of place. But like it didn't seem so out of place in Batman vs Superman.
BVS.
Yeah, I guess that was probably because it was CG on CG, but like
also probably because Batman v Superman had a much different color palette.
Yeah.
Like they were fighting, there was like fire and laser beams everywhere. As this one, it was dreary ass.
Well, actually, it was very interesting. Like the island. Like the juxtaposition of the island and then London was like this is like this is this beautiful green lush land, and then London is this ugly gray. They even call it ugly, and
she's like it's horrible.
It's like this is what mankind made, and I think like that helped me get on board with Ares actually when Ares was talking about like mankind ruins this earth. And I thought back to those two scenes where like. Oh, she came from this beautiful lush land,
everything,
and then mankind built London, and it looks ugly as hell.
I mean, it was the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, so it's even worse. Yeah.
Those
putting kids in factories. Putting kids in factories, no regulations.
It wasn't always like this.
But they purposely made it look great.
London especially is a shithole.
Yeah.
One at a time.
Sorry.
I don't think there's anything else to touch on before we go final thoughts. If anyone else has anything? No.
Nothing I can't say.
Final thoughts with.
Oh, okay. Here. One last thing. Do you guys think that Gal Gadot is a good Wonder Woman? Do you think that she owns the role? Do you think
I was feeling her the whole time. She was so good and so cast nice. Oh, yes.
My Wonder Woman.
Emphatic yes.
Hashtag my Wonder Woman.
My Wonder Woman.
Go ahead.
I think a lot of it has to do with the direction because in Batman v Superman, I was not sold on her at all. I thought she was very, very middling for what time she had, and I don't think she pulled it off well in the slightest in that movie.
Wow.
This movie, she does a damn good job. And like she, honestly, going into this, talking about expectations, she was the one thing I expected to be unequivocally bad. She turned out to be not the best part of this movie by a long shot, but very good. She does a respectable job here. I have no complaints with her performance.
I don't think she's a particularly talented actress.
Yeah.
Against say someone like Amy Adams, for example.
I
think because honestly, there's a couple scenes where Chris Pine just acting circles around this girl.
Really?
Chris Pine does it. Robin Wright does it.
There's a couple times where that happens, but I think that she does a good job. She's not the Wonder Woman. I think that still goes to the animated series Wonder Woman in terms of performance, just like how Kevin Conroy is the Batman in my eyes. But I think she does a good job. I was very worried about her because initially when she was announced, everyone was like, "Oh, she doesn't look like Wonder Woman. She's not muscular." I was like, "Man, that's not the issue. The real question is, can she act? She's a model. Can she actually act?"
She pulled it off fine.
She does a fine job.
There were a few line reads where I was like, but for the most part, she does a good job.
Yeah, I was like, it was weird. Like during the movie, I was also thinking it was just like, what if Olivia Ty did this, like what she did with like Elektra, and I was just like, that would have been such a shit show.
Yeah.
I really like how Gal Gadot
with a hard T.
Gal Gadot is a badass by herself, and I like what that it almost makes me forgive her acting because I feel like the action sequences come more naturally to her. I don't know. Like I also didn't have any issues with her acting. I thought she could emote very well, even if she couldn't necessarily deliver lines. I don't know.
It's her line delivery is I think her weakest part.
Yes.
Line delivery and emoting, I think, are her weakest.
I liked her emoting just fine. I thought she looked sad when she was supposed to look sad. I also enjoyed her monologue at the end, but I understand she's definitely no Amy Adams. Definitely agree there. But I think she's well casted because of her background, not the modeling, but the Israeli military type stuff. It just makes it more believable that she's a badass and she can shoot an arrow off a horse. I don't know, because that's the Israeli military, right?
Totally, bro. That's what they teach every day.
Hoorah! Is that what's happening? Oh man.
I don't know, that's just
well, they're doing a pretty damn good job in the Middle East. They're shooting arrows off
those Amazons direct from the Israeli.
Shit, man, they're putting up a good ass fight.
I think she can definitely. She is primed to grow into this role. If this is going to be the DCEU, if this is going to be a big series, just like Marvel has,
right?
I think in the same way that, like, if you compare, for example, Chris Evans in the first Avenger to Civil War, you can tell that he's developed not only as an actor, but developed in the way that he portrays that role, that he spent more time with it and worked on it over the years.
Correct.
I think that we're going to see a similar kind of progression.
Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie, and
that she's fine here, but if this series is going to go on for like the next 10 years, I think that she definitely has the potential to grow into give a very talented performance as Wonder Woman down the line. Not saying that she didn't here, but I mean, I think that right now she's primed to own the role later on.
The opportunity for growth is there.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing I wanted to mention too, they could have taken out the whole like flashback aspect of this, and it would have been fine.
Yeah. You know what? I got really upset about like opening it up with like, oh, let's acknowledge the fact that the Justice League is coming, like that we're like there's Wayne Enterprise and like this is entire like we're just using this as a setup. You know what I mean? If they just did away with that, I'd be a lot happier with this film, because I would have liked it to just be completely standalone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because with that opening and ending scene, it kind of makes it feel like this movie had to be part of a series as opposed to it just being a standalone.
It adds nothing to the story. And the concluding shot of like her like jumping off to the boat for some reason and doing a hero pose.
Really stupid.
It was so cheesy.
Yeah, it was
such
really
cheesy.
Yeah.
Do you think that the ending laptop email would have been better as like maybe after credit scene or something like that?
No, it was stupid. Like, thanks.
Could be. I mean, we didn't have
I thought it was nice.
They make
it thanks for giving it back to me. You know,
they make it sound like she's telling her story to Batman through the email, and then it shows you the screen. It just says, "Thanks, dude."
What's up with the emails in the DCEU, man?
That's literally
Wonder Woman doesn't have a cell phone.
They got the contact somehow.
The DCEU is built on email.
Bruce Wayne doesn't have that much data. He can't text Paris.
The Flash might be fast, but email's faster.
Batman just calls Barry out. Yo, Barry, I need you to tell Diana something. Chop.
He emails everyone just like, Cyborg gets it straight to him. It goes straight to him.
Barry, I have a message. I'm going to cancel your Netflix unless you tell me right now.
Aquaman has the hardest time.
Barry, swim to the bottom of the sea. I need to tell Arthur it's
they email the fisherman have to tell the fish has to tell Aquaman. It's a whole like chaotic mess.
Batman buys a goldfish and he's like, tell him I like his haircut. And he dumps it in the toilet and flushes it.
Communication is important in the DC.
Oh my god.
I saw someone was saying that they liked that aspect or something like that.
I appreciated that the framing device wasn't super intrusive. For example, I'm glad that it didn't open like, Bruce, I know we've been looking to assemble the Justice League in years November 2017, but I've also been thinking about my past. Like, I like that it's just like, you don't even have Bruce Wayne show up. I like the fact that it's like, oh, I got a package from Bruce Wayne. Oh, it's a picture. This reminds me of... Boop. There's the whole movie. And then the end of it. Here's what I've learned through my journey on Wonder Woman. Roll credits.
Right. Yeah.
I like the... I don't mind them having a framing device. Because, like, again, to compare it for, like, the 15th time to the first Captain America movie, that one has a framing device. Where it starts with them finding him in the ice, and then it flashes forward, and the movie ends on him.
Find him in the ice in the beginning?
Yeah, no, the beginning of that is in like Antarctica, and they're like,
oh yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
They're like
right.
Cold
Yes.
Fury. This
You're
one's
correct.
been on ice for too long.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct.
Yeah, and then it ends with him getting thawed out in modern day.
Yeah.
So this way, you see, it starts off in modern day. You get the whole movie, and then it ends in modern day. Here's where Wonder Woman is now, and it's like I'm fine with that. But I also think that the idea of having it be her look at a picture and write an email to Batman is kind of a lame way to go.
And then somehow it compels her to enter the man's world again.
There's no build. Like one of the things I took note of is the first time we see Wonder Woman, it's in modern day, and she's just like walking down a hallway. It's like
going to work.
There's our hero, and it's like. You could have made this a more interesting framing device.
Yeah, compared to say if you think about Captain America and how he's thought out. Remember when he runs out and like because he's so confused, and then he goes into Times Square and he's just looking around. Like that's such a cool device, and it's a cool and it's such a cool way to think about. That's such a good cliffhanger.
It's very mundane. It's like Wonder Woman's just having a chill afternoon.
In Paris or something? She
Wait,
spoke French.
That's how it ended. He was just on Times Square.
He was in Times Square looking around.
Yeah.
And then Fury comes out and he's like, "It's been a long time, Cap." And then it ends. I'm pretty sure.
You could have done a thing like maybe because I think the implication is that she's like a curator. Is that she's working for like a museum.
Well,
it
makes sense because she's trying to find that artifact of her picture. She's trying to find a picture.
I think it could have been.
So that's why
cool.
she's a historian. It
could have been neat if
trying to find the photo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
It could have been neat if she was like because she's a museum curator. It could have been cool if it opens with her on like I don't know if archaeological would be the right term, but like a historical like recovering artifacts. You know, like similar to the way that Captain America opens with like the Norse village of her like. Instead of her having a picture delivered to her, her actively doing something would have been more interesting than like, oh, I got mail. It's a photo that reminds me of a thing. If we saw her like doing her job aside from being Wonder Woman, and it's like then she finds the photo like, oh, I remember this.
If they jumped back to modern day halfway through the film, I would have walked out. Like, I really do not like that. The fact that they did that. That's just my like.
It's just unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. I really wish it was just a standalone film. They could in the beginning, I wish they didn't have that. At the very end, maybe. But it wouldn't make sense. They wouldn't have made a way to make sense.
I just wish that in the modern day parts, I wish they gave her more to do because in the beginning she does nothing but sit around and have a package delivered to her, and in the end, all she does is jump off a roof.
She typed that one line in an email.
Yeah, she sent an email, bro.
She sent an email.
Important
and
to the
then
DCCU. Very important to the DCCU.
And it's like, especially with that ending shot, it left me very like, not even angry, just kind of disappointed because it's like she hears like a noise and it's like, oh, call to action! I'm Wonder Woman, jump! You know, that's the end of the movie.
Like towards a boat, some random boat,
and it's like you get a very nice vista of Paris, and it's like that looks very peaceful. It'd have been one thing if like Wonder Woman's gonna go, you know. Rescue people from a fire, or there's a boat sinking and she's gonna go help. And then, like fucking Giganta just pops up. Whoa, Wonder Woman's gonna fight. You know.
No, the reason why I feel like she became like that very 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 last scene where she jumps out the roof, it was to symbolize like her mission of trying to find that photo is done, and so now she can dedicate her.
Now she can be Wonder Woman.
She can just be Wonder Woman. I feel like that's what where that was going.
I think that might maybe.
Yeah, that's how I took it as when I saw that scene. I was like. Oh, basically Bruce freed her from her entire adventure to try and find that photo, and now she could be Wonder Woman, and so now she's gonna be Wonder Woman.
Wasn't DC Comics the ones that like technically coined their picture of like that last superhero pose that you got the last page of a comic?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I feel like that was like a whole thing in the old comics.
I have two questions, and then we can do final thoughts.
Sure.
Clarifications. One. So you're saying that she spent the last 70 plus years just looking for that photo?
Possibly. That's his theory.
That's my theory.
Oh, your theory.
Because like it would make sense because it's like why else would she become a historian other than to get into that world of artifacts where that artifact may exist?
Maybe she's just curious about. I don't know. I mean, that's the area she knows.
Girls gotta make a living.
Maybe the area she knows because she's been around for these past centuries.
She's also like the only person.
Borderline Indiana Jones that can speak every language known to man.
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be useful as an anthropologist because you know these ancient cultures.
True.
This movie is made worse for being part of the DCEU just because, like, the fact that this is in the same universe as something like Man of Steel, it creates unintentional plot holes of like, well, if Wonder Woman wants to help people so bad. Where was she when Zod was invading?
Well, I think she said that she probably has some sort of jadedness towards humanity.
She might not have
I think
that's what I was.
There was World War II. We don't know what happened.
That's what I was prepared for.
Do we know that it happened at all?
Well, it happened.
Wait,
she'll find another photograph and she'll be like, "Oh, that's where I was in
World War II." Maybe.
All right, my last question. She is no longer that naivety that she has. That's not a thing anymore, right?
I would hope not.
Is she still gonna have that kind of character trait in the Justice League film?
I don't think so.
Yeah, she's learned. The reason she was naive was because she didn't know the world. She didn't know mankind.
Right.
Now she does. She's been around them for a century now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get into our final thoughts here. Jake, final thoughts and rating. We're gonna go around in a circle.
Okay. I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a big step forward for DC doing something right. The one thing that I was most pleased with was just the fact that they pulled back the camera for some of the fight scenes, because not enough films do that. And I thought they established Wonder Woman as a really as a solid female lead character. They did her justice, I thought, from what I understand of Wonder Woman. And I hope they continue with this trend and it only gets better from here. So we'll see. Jan? Oh wait, no, I gotta give my rating.
You're rating.
I give it a 7.9 out of 10.
Yeah.
What about on the
Not good enough for
spill
you?
scale?
What is the spill scale that you keep bringing up?
I told you.
I think so. I forget.
No, wait. We agreed that everyone has their own rating.
Yes,
on this.
please. Yeah. No.
Yes.
I think I'm more clarifying so that people can quantify if they should actually go see it in the theater.
I mean, a 7.5 out of 10 is actually good.
7.9.
7.9. I should probably go see that.
Okay, how about this? Would you
Five
do?
is dead
Okay,
average.
let's for ratings. How about do you recommend other people to see it?
Yeah.
Your numerical rating and your scale. Let's just do one rating.
The spill scale really isn't that difficult. I don't know why all of you insist on
but
doing
it's
it.
not because we.
It doesn't do enough for me. Because I mean, I
Everyone
might go
has
see
their
a
own
movie that I
personal
might not necessarily
rating
like.
system. Let us use our own rating system.
Whatever.
We don't just whether or not you want other people to see it.
Yeah.
And then your rating. Whatever.
Whatever.
Deal.
All right.
Compromise.
All right.
Alright,
Deal.
fine. Alright. I would say go see it. If my mom said, "Hey, let's go see Wonder Woman," I would say, "Okay, I'd see it again,"
Ooh.
And let's see, what is it? 7.9 out of 10. And to please Adam, I would say, what is it? I give it a full price. I give it full price.
Okay.
You did give it full price.
Go ahead, Jen. Final thoughts and rating.
Well, I would say, okay, this movie was just above passing, right? It would be even more above passing if it wasn't for so much slow motion. Because, oh my god, why do they do so much slow motion? It pisses me off.
How many points do you deduct for slow motion?
I don't know. I don't know. The redemption in that film is that middle act of the no man's land Veld sequence, and that's the best part of the film. I would suggest people go watch it because this is the most promising DC film that they've come out with so far, and so go watch it because I think if this becomes the most seen, if this is more watched than BVS. I was thinking BVZ. I don't know. Thinking DVZ.
Superman.
Yeah. Zod. If this gets more than BVS or Suicide Squad, then it kind of says like, oh, the audience does want to see quality films and not just two people punching each other.
Yeah, we can't let them get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I would rate it a 7.5, 7.5. Go see it. Go see it in theaters. 7.5.
All right, Abhishek.
Overall, I thought it was really enjoyable, especially the highlights were like when the theme comes on and you just get to see her be like a badass. I was like, yes, that's hype. And so I definitely recommend go seeing it, and then my rating would be 8 out of 10.
Okay, awesome.
Wonder Woman was the best part of BVS for me, so I was excited to see if DC could pull it off, and I think they did. I think you should go see it. I have a personal scale that I like to use because it just feels accurate for me. It's a 5-star system, but there's tiers. I would give this movie like low tier, mid tier, and high tier. That's my system. I know. So, I'm gonna give this a mid-tier 4-star film. It's great. I think you should see it. You have to forgive the cheese though. You have to definitely forgive the cheese.
Is a mid-tier 4-star better than a 1-star high tier?
No, it's way better because that's like 8 places above that or something.
It's out of 15.
So wait, it's a star then tier. So
every star has 3 tiers.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if it's like 1 through 5 low, 1 through 5 mid,
That would
1
be
through 5
insane.
high.
That'd be crazy. Forgive me. It's what I feel in my heart of hearts. You should go see it. It's a good movie. You just have to forgive the cheese.
You should rank it in terms of like loot. You got your green, your purple epics, legendary.
Yeah.
I'm still dying.
Michael, Pablo.
I apologize in advance for going here, but I'm gonna say that it's above average.
Oh yeah.
Long story short, and this has been almost 2 hours of our discussing this. I'm far more of an outsider of the whole DC universe compared to everyone else here. Everyone who's seen Batman v Superman out of that list.
Mm-hmm.
I felt this movie tried to do almost not a little too much, but there was definitely an identity crisis in it. As we touched on the tacky joke so many times here, and I felt like they were. I feel like Marvel's chock full of those, and they work. And this was almost trying to do something that it was trying to figure out what it should be. It was trying to be a more dramatic movie, but a more dramatic movie that people, especially I guess the DC universe, would take seriously. But at the same time, I think it was trying to get that same tacky crowd that's just going to go out there and see this movie and not have any connection to any of the people in it because they'll see it because Wonder Woman's hot or whatever else.
Wait, do you think it was a 98% Rotten Tomato movie?
Not quite. I would say it's probably.
I have to agree.
Like a 7.
I thought I explained this.
I'd say like a 7.1 out of 10.
Oh.
I'd say if you want to, if you're listening to this podcast, go see it. If you're not totally into this, I'd probably call it a rental, Netflix, on demand, whatever you want to use.
Right. So if you're not like a superhero movie kind of person.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, Evan.
Let me just clarify my rating system.
Sure.
So I rate on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being excellent, masterpiece, instant classic. I don't give those out very, very often. 9 is excellent. 8 is great. 7 is good. 6 through 4 is different shades of average, and 3 to 1 is different shades of bad. These are my rules. I make them up.
Right.
This movie I thought was good. It's a step in the right direction. I truly hope that the DC Extended Universe from this point forward could hopefully continue this trend of making good movies, because that's really all I want. Marvel's still at the top, but they need competition, and I really want DC to provide that, because there shouldn't be any competition. Oh, Marvel's better, DC's better. No, superhero movies, there should be a variety of them, because it just makes things interesting. It gives audience members a good variety of movies to watch, and for that reason, I thought Wonder Woman was good. I give it a 7 out of 10, and if you're on the fence to watch it, I would recommend seeing it.
What were the particular aspects you liked about it the most?
I liked, for the most part, the fight scenes. I liked the characterization of Steve Trevor. I thought he was the best character in the film. I thought Gal Gadot killed all of the action parts of Wonder Woman's character.
Right.
The acting parts were a little iffy at certain points, but I think she did a respectable job. That's most of what I liked about it. Do you want me to say a few things of what I didn't like?
If you want to, yeah.
Just like the villains obviously being really weak, some very awkward dialogue, obviously the third act, a lot of portions being rushed or not really getting into certain parts of the exposition or too much exposition. But with its flaws, I still thought it was a more consistently good movie than its previous films in the DC Extended Universe.
Awesome. And I have to agree with Evan there. No one wants DC to do bad. There's no one that's saying I can't wait for DC to
Marvel
fail.
King.
I want DC to be good because Marvel needs competition. I'm so tired of seeing bad scores, bad cinematography, and bad villains from them and all that other crap. But that's another conversation for another time. Go ahead, Mark.
I could not agree with Evan more. scale of 1 to 10, where 5 is perfectly average, like perfectly fine, I give this like a 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7. It's good. It's not amazing. It's not a masterpiece, but it is by far the best thing to come out of the DCEU so far. It is a step in the right direction, and I really hope that the thing that I hope for most is that Warner Brothers understands what parts of this movie work, because everything they put out, it feels like they're trying to ape Marvel in some way. It feels like they're trying to rush into making the cinematic universe happen. It feels like they're trying to rush into making the team up happen. You know, Suicide Squad reshoots. Well, Guardians of the Galaxy had lots of jokes and comedy and pop songs, so put all those in there, you know? And it's like, those aspects of the movie are good, but they're not why the movie worked. Like, to compare this to, say, Guardians 2 that just came out, the humor in Guardians 2 I thought was kind of hit or miss. But I thought the movie worked phenomenally well, not because it was a goofy comedy with a lot of pop songs, but because it had really strong human elements. I could identify with the characters, and I cared about the conflict, and I understood what was going on. And that's one of the good things about this movie, is I care about the characters, and I think that there's real heart to it. You know, like the Wonder Woman isn't good because, you know, oh, they made a joke where is she looking at his dick or his wristwatch. It's good because it presents being a superhero as something other than a futile burden. Even though the ending is really bittersweet, there's still a very hopeful, altruistic message behind it. And I think that's something that's really been lacking from the majority of what DC's been putting out in terms of their live-action feature films. You know, you've got characters like Wonder Woman and Superman, and this is the first time that they're really embracing what makes these characters, you know, what made them survive 75 years as public icons. And I think if they keep on doing that, then it's only going to get better from here. And I hope they do keep doing that.
All right, Vince?
So I'm just gonna approach this as like as an animation kind of thing, cause like I'm an animation major, and so like my biggest thing to watch in like both anime and cartoons to take it seriously is story, dialogue, and how the characters carry themselves throughout the movie. So overall score, I give it like 8 out of 10, solid 8 out of 10. What was really lacking for me was the choreo. Choreo could have definitely been directed better if like they used a little bit more kinetic energy, in my opinion, towards a lot of the shots, where it's just like, you know, a punch and it just follows through, and it's just like you don't really see that, you know, that crunch to the punch, where, you know, you don't really feel that like power in it. It just like you punch a person, they just stop. That's it. You know, there's like no like surrounding parts aren't like really affected to it. Like just a small area. Characterization wise, like I thought Wonder Woman was phenomenal. I thought like her acting when she was like supposed to be emotional was great, but to the fact of like when she was starting to be like a snooty character, her naive character, where it's just like she's kind of just in her own ignorance and like arrogance towards like her own beliefs, I was like, could have definitely portrayed better, because like I've seen better confident characters played out well. For the most part, it was pretty good. I definitely would watch it full price on Adam's scale.
All right. Basically, we've had 3 hours of discussion about this, but I think that this was a good movie. I don't think it was a great movie. I don't think it was a bad film. And that's saying something for the DC Extended Universe, and I hope that this is a trend that they continue on in terms of improvement. I think that Steve Trevor, like I said before, is the best part about this movie, and there's some really, really good character moments and some great action scenes like we talked about with No Man's Land. There's a lot of good things to like about this film, but also some bad. We talked about the CG, we talked about some of the jokes and the dialogue, train wreck that was for the most part of the third act and the villains, but overall it's a good film. And I think I give it a matinee, but honestly, if you wait till, as Pal said, the rental, you're not going to miss too much. But I personally, I think give it a matinee for sure. But yeah, okay, so we're at the end of the podcast here. Of course, If anyone would like to shout out their social media, I know not everyone else does, but how can the people follow you if you want them to follow you?
Follow me on Instagram. Hey, Vince just draws. I do art.
Yeah, he does. This is our resident animator here, so please check him out, guys. Anyone else want to give shout outs or social media?
Not for me.
I'd like to give a shout out to Noodle Mage. You can find him at Noodle Mage or at Dr. Noodle Mage.
We should just include his link.
Octopus Steak. You can find the link in the below, right there.
Yep, it's good stuff. It's comics and art.
He makes great stuff.
No, I'm not sharing mine so people can't criticize me.
You can find Jan's Instagram.
Put a wall on my
His lifting Instagram.
His phone number is
at J Catarata.
My SSN is
222
Sure.
543 222. All right, Mark.
Make sure you swipe right on me.
You can find me on Facebook at Cinemark Movie Reviews. You can find me on Twitter at The Real Krapinsk. And you can find me on Blogger at whiteguywithnetflix.blogspot.com. I do weekly movie reviews, and I'll probably have a written one of this up, hopefully by the time you're listening to this, if I feel like being a lazy hunk of shit. Maybe a few days afterwards, but we'll see.
He's really good.
Before we upload.
I don't know. It took me a legit week to get off my ass and write about Alien Covenant. But we'll see.
I'll be surprised if this uploads by the summer ends.
But yeah, no, check it out if you feel like it.
And Twitter you said was at Real Krapinsk, right?
At The Real Krapinsk.
Right. All right. So guys, if you want to follow me, you can always follow me on Twitter at Adam_bomb with 2 M's in the bomb part. You can also follow myself and the work I do for Esports Heaven and Esports Journalism on my YouTube channel. Just look up my name, Adam Baugh, Baugh. And of course, I want to give a shout out to Rutgers Esports, where we hail from, most of us at least. Please give them a follow on Facebook and Twitter, just at Rutgers Esports. And of course, last but not least, I always want to give a shout out, or almost last but not least, I want to give a shout out to the creators of, Wonder Woman and all these other fantastic comic book characters for spawning these modern gods that we see. Without them, we wouldn't have this kind of film and the phenomena that we find ourselves in right now. Finally, of course, to you guys, thank you so much for watching, listening to us talk about this movie for a very, very long time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you so much again for staying with us this entire time. And of course, we're planning on seeing more movies. I believe next week another movie comes out that I do not recall off the top of my head, but you can expect more movie reviews from us during the summer.
Summer's gonna be big.
So stay tuned, guys, and thank you so much for watching. And, we'll see you guys next time. Later.